Welcome in. You're here with us
Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na.
once again.
Ooh, ooh-wee.
It's another Monday.
You.
Time for the brethren to review.
My name is Austin.
My name is Josiah.
And we are the Super Cinema Bro.
Cinema Brothers.
Yow.
How's it going, Austin?
What's going on, Josiah? How are we doing today, this
Doing well,
evening?
man. Doing well.
All right.
Hope you are.
We we've
Hope
got a
our numbers
doozy
as
today.
well are. We do. We do. Yeah. And as appropriately as the length of this movie is, so shall our review be. Right?
Oh, man, you lost me at the length of this movie. Oh man. Actually,
Yeah.
I saw the early matinee showing this morning.
Oh, okay. Nice, nice. Woke up
Yeah.
woke up bright and fresh, got into the movie theaters before anything else in life.
I mean, I wouldn't
Nice.
I wouldn't
Nice.
I wouldn't characterize it that way, but um, you know,
That's okay.
there
That's
was a
that's
point at
why I'm
which.
here. I'll characterize it for you.
All right.
Austin this morning. We'll just narrate his whole morning. Austin woke up, took a sigh of I'm just
You know what? I was gonna say there are certain parts that ought not be narrated, but whatever.
let's go with it. Let's go with it.
Just
All right.
we're already here. We're already here. So
All right. You guys, welcome in. Thank you for coming on by once again. We are here. You are here with us live again. All right. Today we are talking about Avatar, Fire and Ash.
that's right.
Another James Cameron joint. And man, this was one of the blockbusters of the year. 110%. Everyone knows it. You know it. I know it.
Did we get box office numbers for it yet? Do we know?
I'm not sure actually. I did not look. I could check it out, but I think everyone's probably more interested in just getting to our speed run mini review spoiler free section of this. But if you want to look it up, throw it out at us.
Yeah.
If any one of you guys in the chat have an idea what it is, shout loud, say it proud. All right. While you look that up, let me give you guys a short breakdown on what this movie is, and then we'll jump into our speed run, spoiler free review. All right. Avatar: Fire and Ash continues the story of Jake Sully and his family as they struggle with profound grief following a devastating loss. While attempting to rebuild their lives with the Metcanian, Metcayan,
Hang on.
Metcayan, sorry guys
Met
for this pronunciation,
Metcaina. Metcaina.
Metcaina clan, they encounter a merchant ship convoy that becomes the target of an ambush by the Mang Quan. Give me 1/2 second. 1/2 second to read this a little bit more. I don't wanna spoil more of the movie. I feel like it's giving some things away.
The hip bone's connected to the neck bone. The arm bone's connected to the toe bone.
I did
Metcaina,
not.
Navi,
Mhm.
Metcaina, Varang, Mangwan,
Okay,
Ewa.
okay. Alright, alright. So there's some events that happen on Pandora. It's continuing the story from the last movie. I'll skip to the film explores themes of grief, forgiveness, and the complex nature of family bonds in the face of loss and betrayal. As the story unfolds, it examines how different cultures and belief systems can clash, even among the Na'vi themselves, challenging the notion of a unified indigenous resistance against human colonization. The narrative delves into questions of belonging and acceptance, particularly as characters must decide who deserves to be a part of their family, and what sacrifices they're willing to make for those they love. Through escalating conflicts between the RDA, various Na'vi clans, and the natural world of Pandora, the film asks whether peace is possible when fundamental values and survival instincts collide, and what it truly means to be connected to a world and its people. Cool, cool. You
Type
know,
ish, type ish.
exactly. Yeah, I always feel like these summaries brought to you by our AI overlords um are deeper than what the movie actually is. I mean, yeah.
Dang.
I
Shots
mean,
fired. Shots
look,
fired.
look. It was super obvious last week with Freddy's. It was starting to get super deep with it. Um,
Yeah.
yes. Anyways, all right. So let's get to our speed bump. You wanna hit it first, or you want me to go first?
All right. So the speed run, just so I'm clear, am I trying to knock this out in like a minute or so, or like 90 seconds? What am I trying to do?
Man, yeah, probably no longer than 3 or 4 minutes.
All right.
Yeah, let's just imagine this is something we want to condense or just clip up into something for YouTube Short, Instagram, you know,
All right.
whatever the best length is for that kind of a thing.
All right. So I don't even know if it's going to take me that long to summarize it.
Okay.
I'll say this much. So Avatar, Fire and Ash is a film of extraordinary ambition on the part of primarily James Cameron. This is his baby. And I believe the late John Landau. Is that what his name?
Yeah.
Um, Rest in peace, John Landau.
Rest in
He
peace.
was the like executive producer
Yeah.
along with James Cameron for
Yeah.
all of the Avatar movies up to this point.
Yeah.
An extraordinary effort in storytelling, in visual effects, and cinematic production. They are breaking all kinds of ground in what's possible through computer generated imagery. And so, more than anything else, what I took away from this movie was there's just an extraordinary vision and ambition that they are executing on. And it is substantial. This movie is 3 hours, 15 minutes long. And I would say that it does feel its length. However, there's so much going on, and there's so many plots and subplots and things that get resolved and things that get started and don't get resolved until later. There's so much going on. And this is just a substantial, massive endeavor. And I just walked away from like, wow, like this is as far as like a level of effort, this is on the level of the original Lord of the Rings trilogies. And there's some significant tie-in to those movies because Peter Jackson essentially formed and started the Weta Workshop and the Weta VFX um, animation crew to handle the special effects in the Lord of the Rings movies. And I mean, they are such major players in this movie. And you see it at the very beginning of the end credits, maybe even the beginning credits, but definitely the end credits. I mean, they go out of the way to just mark out Weta FX, Weta Workshop. Like they let you know right off the top, this is their baby. And so, um, this is a very dense story with a whole lot of things going on, a whole lot of moving parts, a whole lot of significant players and actors. And yeah, I just respect the ambition of it. The execution of it, we can talk about things here and there and things that work, maybe don't work as much. But
Hmm.
my goodness, the ambition, the vision, what they are trying to accomplish, it's respectable. Whether you come away enjoying the movie, liking the movie, whether you feel that the plot is original, inspired, or somewhat derivative, um, because you've seen so many other movies before. And that's another thing. I am at the age now where I've seen enough movies, I've seen enough television shows, I've seen enough media and content to know when I've seen the story before. And I've seen this is a well-trodden story. This was my assessment of the first Avatar movie back in 2007. When was it?
Uh,
Thereabouts?
was it 8 or
2008?
12? It was around that area.
Between 2007 and 2012, the first movie came out, and my assessment at the time was if you've seen any uh, oppressed, disadvantaged, indigenous, native peoples movie, Native
Mhm.
American movie, Last of the Mohicans, uh, you know, all of those movies. And if you've seen Fern Gully and if you've seen Land Before Time, then you've seen Avatar from a narrative perspective. Um, the original movie was going through well trodden territory in terms of the plot and everything. Um, but man, the visual effects were incredible. And I remember seeing it opening night, IMAX 3D, all of that, all the bells and whistles. And I was like, my goodness, visually, this is an incredible film.
Mhm.
And okay, on Saturday night, I watched the second installment, and that was a 3-hour journey. And then I watched this one. I'm like, wow. Um, the second one, I don't know. To be honest with you, I come away just feeling the same way about all of these movies.
Mhm.
It's just extraordinary attention to detail, extraordinary imagination, and the execution of it all.
Mhm.
And so that's my takeaway from the movie. And just shout out to James Cameron and just respect for his. I mean, you got to be some kind of crazy to pitch this kind of movie with the budget that it had and the production costs and the reshoots, because apparently there was like big reshoots because he didn't like how the movie ended and the message it conveyed. So he called everybody back to do reshoots. I mean, just an extraordinary production at extraordinary cost and expense. And to have the balls to ask a studio to bankroll this is just crazy to me. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that's just my takeaway from it. I mean, not only is it like a a visual spectacle with the special effects and everything that they're doing, but at 3 hours and 15 minutes. Now, I mean, did the movie have to be that long? We can get into that. Um, is this a little bit of Scorseseism in James Cameron's filmmaking? We can get into that.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that he had like that he had the balls to just walk into Disney and say, like, listen, this is gonna cost $500 million. It's gonna be 3 hours, 15 minutes long. I'm good for it. Cut the check. That's extraordinary. That is a massive accomplishment unto itself. So
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, I gotta give my hat. I gotta tip my hat and pop my collar to James Cameron on this one.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
and again, this is not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. This movie does not commit the cardinal sin of being boring at any point in time, despite its length. And we'll get into that.
Mhm.
But man, this is a remarkable achievement and accomplishment to Mr. Cameron. And yeah, it's a little bit different than like Peter Jackson when he did the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, which was a huge risk. He was a B movie director. He made cheesy horror films, B movies, and then they gave him just one of the uh, most massive budget to try to make a live action Lord of the Rings version, which had been in. I think it had been in production hell, and many people had tried to do it in the past. They tried to do it in the '80s, and it ended up being Willow. And so, like, I would say, like, he was taking even a bigger risk and a bigger chance, and he had more to prove. James Cameron has Terminator. He has True Lies. He has The Abyss, which I don't think he directed, but he produced. He has what he has
Titanic.
Terminator, Titanic. He's got like
Hmm.
all kinds of crazy bangers. So like it, it's if I go in and ask Disney for 500 million to produce a crazy super special effects bonanza, it's different than if he does it.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
so, even so, like in the economy and the way films are and the box office returns that are coming back and they're not what they used to be, like it was still a huge ask. And again, he's stacking the victories, right? His movies
Mm.
make
Mm.
money. Make no mistake, this is
That
a James
that's
Cameron
that's
movie.
the biggest thing. Yeah. He's got
Yeah,
like the top, like two of the top three highest grossing films of all time, or
of all
something like
time.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm saying even despite all of that, like the vision and the ambition and like the cojones for a movie like this, I tip my hat. Oh yeah, he also did Aliens, right?
Yeah, the
Uh,
second one.
g-
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Aliens,
Mm-hmm.
plural, sequel.
Yeah.
Um, go watch the making of that movie and how crazy that was. Watch a documentary on that and how
Mm.
him and Sigourney Weaver, who's also in this film, they really
He
had
is indeed.
to plead and work with the UK film crew and all this. It's a crazy doc. I
Yeah.
geek out on behind the scenes documentaries, making of all that stuff. Check that out.
It's awesome
But this
stuff.
is
Yeah.
that James Cameron. And so the last thing I'll say is like, oh wow, couldn't because it was all Weta Workshop and everything. And first of all, I didn't see Digital Domain, which is the VFX crew that James Cameron himself started when he did Titanic way back in 1997, I believe. So I didn't see Digital Domain anywhere, but Weta Workshop was everywhere, and I was like, oh wow, this is a pretty big accomplishment for a VFX crew. I wonder how Industrial Light and Magic is going to match it. But then at the very end, pulling up the rear when I was watching the credits, ILM did a bunch of the VFX as well. So you have the two premier VFX companies. You know, the Godfather, Industrial Light and Magic, George Lucas's baby, and then Weta Workshop, Peter Jackson's baby. And I mean, looking back on it, it had to be both of them working together on this because I mean, it is the scale and the scope of all the stuff they were doing is just it is beyond massive. Like I thought the Avengers movies were doing a whole lot, and they absolutely were. But man, this movie is just insane. That's my blurb on it. What do you think, Josiah?
Yeah, I do agree with a lot of what you're saying. So, all right, let me give it a hack at this. Avatar Fire and Ash is an impressive film in all of its scope and execution, with the technology and direction that was put into it. Performance capture, the acting through it is just incredible. It reminds me a lot of Hellblade, Senua Saga, or Cyberpunk 2077, in that those are games that wind up pushing the technology of your hardware to its limit. It's like when you build a high end PC and you want to play a game that absolutely demolishes it. Looks gorgeous in ways that you would never experience before. This film is that attempt at doing that very same thing within the cinematography of filmmaking genre. And you guys know this already based on the other films that he's made with his Lightning Storm Entertainment. That said, uh, while it is an exciting and thrilling ride, and while it does not wind up letting you down in its tension and the building of anticipation and action, unfortunately, it does not wind up really moving the story forward in any dramatic ways, overall, plot wise. There are some character developments that happen in this film that move a character from the beginning to the end in some minor ways, but everything that winds up happening is basically a retread. I felt that more or less by the end of this film, you feel as if the story, the overall plot, and the characters are back to where they were at the end of the first movie. Fire and Ash, in addition with Way of Water, serve as basically, as we already know, a trilogy of sorts that's one contained story, more or less retelling the story of the first movie in an expanded way. Reminds me a lot of reading One Piece and getting thrown headlong into an arc only to have it span hundreds of chapters or dozens of episodes. You wind up enjoying what you're doing, you wind up enjoying what you're seeing and the action that you're a part of and the characters interacting with each other, relationships developing, breaking. That said, if you enjoy it, you can make it through all of that runtime. Fortunately, it could be cut down to something very much shorter. And ultimately, by the end of this film, like I said, we don't really get anywhere within the story. Um, but it is very impressive to watch. Worth going out into the theaters to see in IMAX, see in 3D for the pure spectacle of it all, for the feeling of wanting to run the most impressive visual, auditory, performance filled video game at the highest level on the grandest PC possible. This is exactly what you're getting with Avatar Fire and Ash.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So that has been our spoiler-free speed run of Avatar: Fire and Ash.
Right, all
At this
right.
point, at this point, if you have not viewed the film, if you have not seen it, if you have not watched it, if you have not experienced it,
Make
then
like a
pause
tree
this,
here. No,
pause
pause it.
this, pause it, leave it on your
As
computer.
Austin says.
Don't X out the screen. Don't close it out. Stay with us. Go see the movie, and in about 4 hours, come back and see us, and enjoy the conversation.
Mhm.
Um,
Maybe the next day. You don't have to come back in the in the middle of the
like
night.
like
We still
like
could be running though. We still could be running. No lie. Yeah.
come back tonight and then watch it again tomorrow. That's
Mhm.
fine.
Leave us some
Uh,
comments in this comment section. Let us know how right
yeah.
or how wrong we are. All right.
Okay. So from this point on, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Do we understand, everybody? Spoiler alert, from this point on, we will be spoiling the movie.
Yep. Oh,
Uh,
Genobi's heading on out to see. Okay, she's just kidding. Okay, okay.
okay.
All right, all right.
Uh,
Well, if you wanted to, you could have. But yes,
all right.
spoilers are live. Bro,
Okay. How do we want to
the
do this? Do we
best,
want
the
to talk
best, the
about?
best thing about this movie, I ain't gonna lie, those space sea otters. I mean, the cutest thing in the movie by far. Every time they showed up on screen, I was like, "Whoa, look at that! They introduced a new creature type, the space sea otters. That's my
Oh, like
Oshawott right there."
at the very end? Is
Yeah,
that
it
what it
was.
was?
So they showed up at the very end as like an extended kind of section,
Yeah.
but they were earlier in the movie, like in the water with the kids and stuff like that. Um, yeah, there were a couple shots where they were just kind of like playfully moving around, like in the water, and I was like, "Oh shoot, we hadn't seen those guys before." Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys saw them in the other movie, but I'm pretty sure I don't remember seeing them in Way of Water.
Okay. So I'm having a hard time. Like, do I want to do like what do we like, what do we didn't like? Let's just talk
Hmm.
about like the specific aspects of the film, and then we can
Hmm.
kind of get into what we liked or didn't like about it.
Okay.
Okay. Let's
Okay.
just start with the special effects, the visual effects.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Now, I remember the big point of discussion in the second movie, which I did not see in theaters. I saw it on just a couple days ago on my laptop.
Hmm.
So I did not see it in theaters, but there was conversation.
The way
I guess
James
was
Cameron meant it.
oh yeah. There was conversation about
Yeah.
the frame rates and how it in the 3D IMAX experience and the
Yeah.
frame rates.
Yeah.
Can you recap what that was? And did you experience that in this film?
I did. I did. So yeah, in the last film, I don't remember them advertising it for this one, but in Way of Water, they wind up saying that there's going to be sections that were shot at, I believe, and depicted on
48?
screen at 48 frames. I want
Yeah.
to say 60 because that's such a typical like video game frame rate, but I'm pretty sure it's 48 frames, and then a good portion of the movie is 24 frames, and it wound up being ultimately that a lot of dialogue sections were 24 frames, and then action slash water sections were 48 frames. And
Hmm.
I'm like 99% positive that same thing happened in this movie, because in the first like third of the film, like it was really popping out in to my eyes, and like it
Yeah.
does serve as something that distracts me. Now it's one of those things where it's like your brain after a while can maybe kind of gloss over it, like halfway through the movie to the end. Kind of like the same thing happens with like the 3D glasses effect as well. But yeah, that first time watching Way of Water, I remember there was the scene where the Sully and his kids were like attacking, it was like a train based, right? It was like
Oh, you mean
it
the
was
second movie?
in
Yeah.
the second movie there was like, yeah, a train sequence, and it kept
Yeah, yeah,
popping
yeah.
back and forth between 24 and 48, and
Mhm.
it's not a good time. Especially when you go up to the high frame rate, you're like, oh wow, that looks smooth, that looks cool. I'm catching all the action, the explosions, movement looks nice, and then you get choppy, that choppy effect when it goes down to 24. And it's so frustrating because like I feel like James Cameron in this film with the performance capture wants to like completely immerse you into the world, and instead of being like, oh, I want you to suspend disbelief, he just wants you just to believe because you can see it because it's like fully actually realized in front of you.
Right.
But this is one of those things that it brings me back to the suspend disbelief moment, because you've like interrupted my experience of the picture, but
Right.
for whatever
Okay.
reason it doesn't
So
work for him.
that brings to mind a few things to me. Number one,
Yeah.
there were stories about Peter Jackson when he was showcasing
The Hobbit.
footage from The Hobbit. I think it was the
Mm.
second film, maybe it was first film at a television radio broadcast industry convention. And from what I remember reading about it, people were saying that when they watched the footage, it looked like a Spanish soap opera.
Mhm.
For
Mhm.
those of you who don't know what a Spanish soap opera looks like, it looks really, really like the high frame rate makes it look like a TV production, like you're watching community access
Yeah.
television or
Yeah.
a Spanish soap opera on Mexican television
Yeah.
or Latin American television.
Yeah.
There's something about the frame rate, there's something about the way it looked. It has a certain aesthetic.
Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
generally not the aesthetic that you want for a feature film, like a motion picture that's going to be seen on the big screen.
Mhm. Yeah.
On the little screen on TV, it's fine for cheap, low budget television productions. But for a film, for a feature film, you don't want that look. It
Mhm.
takes people out of the experience, out of the movie.
It does, yeah.
Okay, so okay, let me real
A
quick
lot a
question.
lot
Did
of
you see it?
TVs, like, 10 years back and earlier had, like, True Motion or something like that, I don't know if
Oh,
you
okay.
heard.
That's another thing. So
Yeah.
I remember I had a friend of mine. He had a 240 hertz television refresh rate. And I remember watching Shrek. He was watching Shrek, like Shrek 2 or something like that. And it looks so smooth as to the point of distraction. It was like there was the interpolation was so silky smooth. I'm like, what am I watching right now? This is
Mm.
I am tripping, bro. I'm
Mhm.
having I'm I I I promise you I had took no illicit substances that night. I was just like,
Mm.
"Whoa, this is Shrek." Like, this is like, "Whoa." It was just it was too smooth.
Whoa.
It was smooth to the point
Yeah.
of distraction. Alright, I remember they were advertising, like
Telenovela.
or
Yes,
yeah,
that's right,
they were
Zenobia.
advertising, like, at one point in the early t in the aughts, the 2000 the 2010 period,
Mhm.
I think they were even trying to advertise on the super high end bleeding edge, like 480 hertz refresh rate, which is insanity. Like,
Crazy.
it's just like the screen is gonna literally like slip off, like slip and fall off the screen. It's craziness.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's stuff
the
you want in video games, and that's
yeah,
part of the reason why I even like made the comparison to Hellblade,
right,
because it's like exactly like that's a game series along with like Last of Us and a bunch of other stuff, but especially Hellblade, where it's trying to basically be an interactive movie, and then Avatar is like the opposite. Like it's
right,
basically it's Final Fantasy cutscene with like zero gameplay. It's just like telling the
right.
entire story. Anyways,
Okay,
going back.
so another thing, for those of you, if you're watching and you're like in your 20s or even younger, first of all, welcome.
Hey,
Thank you for
kids.
joining us. Hi, kids. Listen, I worked at Best Buy in like 2010, 2011, and I remember seeing like what the high-end televisions were. Listen, total side tangent. There is there may be no greater cinematic viewing experience than watching the final race of the Wachowskis Speed Racer on a plasma screen.
Plasma. Ooh.
Bro, with the giant speakers and everything. Bro, I mean, I'd never seen such clear crystal popping colors, such inky blacks.
Mhm, mhm.
Bro, it was amazing. That has to be one of the greatest experiences ever.
I've
Also,
not
during this
experienced that.
time, Best Buy was selling a lot of like 3D TVs because that, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, that was actually a thing. They were
Oh, yeah.
trying to make that a thing where you had to buy glasses and then you would watch movies in 3D at home.
Mhm,
It was a
mhm.
it was a technological feat and achievement. It was a commercial catastrophe. Nobody want like the technology either wasn't there where it needed to be,
It was rough.
or like,
Yeah,
yeah, it was super, super choppy and rough. But one
yeah.
of the films that
Mhm.
they were advertising for that, which is what makes me think Avatar came out in like 2007,
It
2009.
was 9, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's perfect because I worked at Best Buy 2010 to 2011.
Mhm,
So that was one of the films that they were advertising for like the 3D television. You know what I mean?
mhm, yeah.
This is this was at the absolute Gen 1 of OLED, and they
Mhm,
were so expensive. I mean,
mhm.
they were still throwing out LCDs.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Mini LEDs wasn't even a thing yet. The
yeah,
ULED, all that stuff, that came many, many years
yeah.
later.
But you did have
But
the inky blacks. So, going back a half step, yeah, you brought up the frame rate. Did you wind up feeling it during this movie, the frame rate changes?
well, yeah, that's so I wanted to ask you, did you watch this in IMAX 3D?
I did, yeah. Mhm.
I watched it in real 3D.
Okay.
Until something changes, I actually prefer real 3D to IMAX 3D.
Mm.
Better glasses experience, like just everything,
Yeah, 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 got it,
all that
yeah.
all the stuff that I complained about in Predator Badlands still applies.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
saw Zootopia 2 in real 3D as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember at the very beginning where the brothers are like flying around in their little,
Yeah.
dinosaur
Mhm,
things.
mhm.
I was like, "Ooh, this looks like a cutscene from like a really high-end AAA game."
That's my
And
first thought also, yeah.
yeah, but I was actually into it. I was digging it. I was like, "Oh, this looks
Mhm,
really good. This
mhm,
looks."
mhm.
Except the colors are just popping,
Yeah.
RGB popping all day, every day, you know? And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Ooh, this is really good." Um, when I ended up watching the end credits and I saw like there's like a big giant block of people that were just working on the lighting. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. I see that now." I don't know
Mhm.
what all of them were doing, if they were all just working
Oh,
on
man.
different scenes.
Yeah.
Whatever the case was, the lighting had to be even in bright light where the colors pop,
Yeah.
like, you still have to get, like, sunlight, you still have to get that right.
Mhm. Oh, definitely.
Again,
Yeah,
technical feat, my hat's
yeah.
off. So, like,
All you
I just
guys in the art
remember
department, animation, effects, all that stuff, like, yes, exactly. You guys,
all
man,
day,
I'm sure we
all
worked
day.
like dogs for, like, a straight year and a
Oh
half
my
or
god,
something, but impressive,
absolutely,
impressive, yeah.
yes. So
Mhm.
when I was watching, I'm like, "Oh, this is probably 48 frames per second." It's in 3D and, like, the movement's so fluid. This is probably 48, and they're
Mhm.
and they're doing tumble barrel rolls and the camera aerial barrel rolls and all this stuff.
Mhm.
I'm guessing this is probably 48 frames per second.
Yeah.
Fast forward all the way to like the second to like pretty much the last scene
Okay.
where Snake, the person, he's connecting his little dreadlock into the flower, and
Oh,
his
Spider? Yeah.
what I call him?
Snake.
Snake? Whatever. Spider.
It's a time
Yes.
paradox, Snake.
Yeah. Yeah. Snake Blitzkin escaped from Pandora,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
Uh-huh.
like,
Yeah.
he's being dragged along by the girl, by his, like, kinda girlfriend, cousin, play cousin, whatever,
Oh, man.
and
Don't even say no. Oh, no.
We're not going there. We're not going there. We're not dealing with that
No, keep
issue just yet.
going.
But like she's like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. And that last scene, it looked like a video game cutscene. It was like she was moving like almost too fast. I was like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. It
Okay.
was just at that end
Yeah,
scene
yeah. Oh,
as
I
she was
see.
running.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When they're in the like not in the dream, but like connected
The
inside the visual.
connected into the afterworld,
Yeah,
astral whatever,
yeah.
whatever, all that stuff.
I think part of
J-
it's because at that point, I'm almost 100% sure they decided to either scale up Spider or shrink her down so they were the same size when
Yeah.
they're running together. So that probably played. But yeah, I 100% get what you mean.
Yeah, I just noticed it at that scene.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there were a couple scenes here and there. Okay, this is why I applaud what he was doing because it
Mm.
was super risky having Spider there next to them in
Mm-hmm.
various scenes because that could
Mm.
have like there were a couple scenes, particularly like when she's like trying to get to the Awa god or whatever.
Okay. In the same kind of setting.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and then Spider joins her, and then the little sister joins her. That whole scene, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Go, go!" and they're going towards the light, and he's getting pushed back. There's a couple scenes that kind of bordered on almost Spanish soap opera ish, just a
Mm.
little bit.
Mm.
I think they did a really good job of like color grading and film grading. Not quite Man of Steel sepia tone that like honest trailers made fun of. It
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
that
yeah.
aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
It was not that aggressive at all, but like it just kind of bordered, and I think some of that might with the current technology and cameras, it might be unavoidable. If you're gonna blow up a picture to like the big screen. I don't know how avoidable it is, but
Yeah.
they were kind of like flirting with that line just a little bit in a couple scenes.
Mm.
Basically all the scenes with Spider. Not all the scenes, but all the ones that had that flirting with line with,
Hmm.
they were all Spider.
Well, fascinating. I'll have to go back and check that out. Yeah, I
That
didn't
was
specifically catch it myself, but okay.
that
All
was my
right.
observation.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
yeah.
as far as the technology goes, like a couple of things that popped up to me were, I mean, they're ultimately super minor, but in that first opening sequence or scene where the brothers are flying, and it's, I guess we're basically inside Awa as well, because the one brother has passed already. I felt like things were moving a little bit sluggishly. Like the flying was good, but the speed felt a little slower than it ought to be. But it's
Mhm.
rough saying it ought to be since these are fake things. Our brains are only connected as much to, like, can make connections to things that are maybe a little bit relevant. I'm sure they looked at a bunch of sequences of birds flying and especially big birds and creatures and stuff like that flying to try and make it feel believable. But I just personally, preference wise, I felt like there were a number of sequences in which things were moving slower than they ought to, and I'm almost wondering if that's connected a bit to
The frame
the
rate.
scaling, not the frame rate. Oh, the frame rate's a part of it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it definitely can affect that experience. But the scaling, I think 99% of the time, the scaling from like human size to Navi size, world size, placing and scaling everybody and moving everybody appropriately, it must be like a gigantic challenge. One, I think it's done masterfully 99% of the time, but there are a number of instances in which people were running slowly and moving slowly. These creatures look like they're flying and moving in and out slower than they ought to. That was just like a personal experience that I had.
I
But
didn't catch that.
yeah,
I believe you, but I didn't. I maybe I just wasn't paying attention to that.
yeah,
Like I said, like I paid attention to like the Spanish soap opera with all the spider scenes.
yeah,
You
yeah,
saw this, so I'm like that's interesting. If I ever go back and
yeah.
look at this again,
There's
um,
also, yeah, there's
yeah,
also connected to that. Okay, so when it comes to depicting like giants in cinema, typically, I think because how we see large things move and trying to like use the properties of physics that we have observed, things will, the larger they are, typically like move slower.
Slower.
And I know that has to do with like a wide variety of gravitational elements to, muscle fiber count and, strength and all that stuff. I think they overall decided to like make this world of Pandora more or less Earth, which is why I guess the humans are coming to it. But I just can't help but shake every now and then the feeling that things are moving slower than they ought to. Like you brought up with Spider, there's a number of scenes where Spider is like running with the full size Navi that are like 1.5 his scale, and he's just Usain Bolt or something like that. Like he's caught up 110% with them.
He's
Um,
Tarzan.
yeah, he's definitely Tarzan, but he's like Tarzan with some extra juice because like the length of their limbs and like the amount of speed that they should be able to generate should outstrip this fool, like no matter how
Oh
powerful
yeah,
he
for
is.
sure, for sure.
So there are a number of sequences in which I felt like the Navi should be moving faster. But that's just like it's a very small nitpick kind of a thing. And it just came down to preference. Like I'm curious when we see the Odyssey next year. I mean, 110%, I'm sure. Well, maybe he'll surprise me. I'm sure Christopher Nolan will make his Cyclops big and lumbering and all that stuff, and we're gonna have the same kind of slowed down feel that you get as when you watch King Kong or Godzilla or something. I just am always more
Cyclops. I didn't
curious.
know that. I didn't know there was an MCU tie-in to the Odyssey. That's dope.
Boo, dude, Cyclops is finally getting his time to shine. Although I might
That nerd, that dork.
that nerd. Yeah. Although word on the street, he might get his eyes put out and lose his ability completely. But anyways,
Boy Scout snitch.
mhm.
Whatever. Whatever.
Oh man, Cyclops, brother.
The only thing the only thing that he has on Wolverine, the only thing that he has on Wolverine is that there's no scene of Cyclops on the bed looking at Jean Grey's poster, just his photo. That's the only thing he has on Wolverine.
Oh man, that's true.
That
But
that's
let
easily the
me.
lowest that's the lowest point of Wolverine's entire existence in all of Marvel. Just him just looking at Jean Grey in that photo.
you know,
There's no lower point for
that's rough.
Wolverine.
That's rough. I've
Losing
long.
his adamantium skeleton,
Oh man.
eh,
No, no.
like
We knew it was gonna happen at some point. Magneto's got that ability. Uh yeah. You know what? That's true. That's true. On the flip side, I will say though, a Cyclops does not have the greatest height that Wolverine has reached. Going
oh,
to
not even close.
church because of Nightcrawler and reading the
Bro,
Bible, praying to the Lord
bro,
in
listen,
church. Man.
the level of depth that was in a child's cartoon on Saturday morning,
Yep.
bro, 90s
Yep.
kids, we feasted like there's no
Yeah.
comparison. There's
Yeah.
nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no Phineas and Herb episode of anything. There's no Avatar episode, Airbender episode. And I love
Mm-hmm.
Avatar Airbender. Aang. Aang, I like. Korra, that's a whole that's a whole other
Hey,
conversation.
Toph is best character. I'll lay that right there.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, we ate. Man, this whole generation is cooked. But anyway, all right. So back to Avatar Fire and Ash.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you wanted to touch on as far as the visual splendor and spectacle that we wound up witnessing?
They were just like so I remember there was the scene where like they get the whales, they get the beluga whales to fight with them. And like towards the end of that, and then like
Guys, forgive us. We do wind up forgetting the names of characters and creatures all the time. Y'all know this already about us. We know what he's talking about though.
the insect beluga whales that those creatures, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like they take out all the ships and all this stuff, and that's all cool. And then the good guys are winning, and then the colonel comes in with oh girl, um and
We'll
just
get to that. We'll get to
the
that.
whole swarm, just visually, the whole swarm just coming in. It's like, oh
Of the
my
Tolkien
goodness.
coming in? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ash people, the whole
Mhm.
they're all flying in.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of like as far as action scenes go, there's a lot of really good action scenes.
Oh,
Like in
definitely.
this
Yeah.
world, like there's some phenomenal like
Mhm.
set pieces and like like I said, this is
Dude,
3 hours of a whole lot of stuff going on.
yeah. Yeah. James Cameron told this crew, I want to be able to be completely immersed into this world. The camera has to always be moving. You better make sure the composition on every character is phenomenal at every point in time.
Yeah.
Look, we're gonna be flying around, flipping and dipping, twisting and twirling. I need to see it perfectly with the right golden ratio every time. Yeah,
What was the name of it's called The Volume, the thing that they made for The Mandalorian?
yeah, that's what it is.
I forget. They have like ILM has like some kind of visual something. It's called something
Hmm.
very specific. I
Yeah.
saw it in the in the credits, and like
Mm.
yeah, they had to have been using that thing to the utmost, way beyond what the Mandalorian did. The Mandalorian
Hmm.
started it, and I think they just took that and ran with it.
Hmm.
Speaking of which, because this is a Disney movie, a 20th
Hmm.
century,
Yeah.
not Fox, 20th century movie. Um, we got the Avengers trailer with
Sure.
Captain America.
Yeah.
What's his name? Rogers. What's his name? Buck Rogers. Bucky O'Hare. What's Captain America's name?
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers.
Man,
He's gonna come back.
it's too soon, brother. I look, man, look, at
They
least
they
at least with Wolverine, like I
listen.
believed
They
the
did the
lie.
whole. They did the whole AMC thing. They did the whole Nicole Kidman. They did the whole Nicole Kidman thing,
Oh
and then they
yeah,
played another
uh-huh.
trailer.
And they went
I'm
back
like,
to
yo, yo,
trailers,
yo.
yeah.
And then because it's Disney, you get another like, it's him holding this baby. It's all very emotional. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, cool. I just thought like the placement of the trailer right there, which is very intentional because it's
Yeah,
Disney and
yeah.
but yeah, I forget what remind me uh, what were we talking about? I got sidetracked from all that. Um, yeah, like just oh yeah, so the beluga whale people they fight and then all of that
The
happens.
Tolkien, yeah.
The Tokun, yeah.
Yeah.
And they look like insect whales, like, that's just what they look like. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, I could see where you're coming from a little bit. Yeah,
like,
they
they
got
have, like, insect exoskeleton kinda looking, like, the torso and the abdomen and all that stuff.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And,
They remind me
uh
of, some Mass Effect characters a little bit that have a bit of that feel too, yeah. Mhm,
probably, yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, oh, yeah, another thing that I okay, so one of the things that was characteristic of the Star Wars prequels
Okay. Here we go.
okay, no, 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 this is not a we're not doing that. But, like, there was, like, this sense of movement, and then when things it was almost like when something exploded and someone got knocked back, it
Yeah.
always felt like everything was just kinda, like, softer than it would normally be in real
Oh,
life.
fair. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
It was a very much a Star Wars thing, Star
Okay.
Wars prequel thing.
Yeah.
Like, when people got knocked back, it's almost like everybody was, like, on, like, marshmallows. Everybody landed on marshmallows,
Mm,
right?
okay, yeah.
It was a very specific aesthetic, and we got, like, 20 25 to 50% of that, when they're jumping around, they're hanging on things, they're landing on things. Like, the reality of it is, I don't care how much of a Tarzan badass that Spider is,
Mhm.
bro, like, his the synovial fluid in his meniscus in his knees would have been beef stew a long time ago.
Yeah,
Ain't no
definitely.
freaking way this guy could be
Mhm.
bouncing around barefoot. I didn't
Yeah,
see a Hoka shoe on either one of his feet.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ain't
Mhm.
no way, he didn't slip and fall and sprain the bejesus out of his ankles at any point in time. Bro,
Yeah, yeah.
that that whole thing, it
Mhm.
made me so anxious,
Mhm.
the whole movie. It's one thing if the Na'vi, because like they're on these ships, they have the
There
crates, and like you're walking barefoot on these crates, or your toe could get stuck. Ah, I don't like that stuff. It just I can't do it.
They built
So
different. They
especially
built different though, you know?
yeah, but okay, they're Navi, they're blue. I don't understand. They're different, whatever. But to see
Uh-huh.
this guy just running around like barefoot, he didn't step on something. He didn't get a single thorn in his in he didn't I didn't see any indications of plantar fasciitis, like nothing.
Right, like you
Oh man,
said, like he's Tarzan. He's got those, Kevlar feet basically from years of walking around on the ground.
it made me so nervous and anxious just seeing
Mhm.
him jump around on the stones, on those wet stones, barefoot. Ain't no way his ankles have survived this
Yeah,
long.
yeah. Dude,
Ain't
especially
no way
the
he had.
ocean, man. Everything cuts you so easily in the ocean, man. That could be
Oh my gosh.
fried. Yeah.
Again, his ankles should have been sprained into oblivion. Should have been
Mhm.
beach balls for ankles, man. There just ain't no
Mhm.
way he survived this environment. But
Yeah.
anyway, like, so
Sure,
I noticed
sure.
that kind of like he just kind of bounced. Like people just like this bouncing, and some of it like they
Mhm.
actually were on they were on like what felt like trampolines. But even
Yeah.
when they're on solid surfaces, it just kind of sometimes feels like they're on like very marshmallowy trampolines ever so slightly.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so it didn't take me out of the movie. It was just like, oh, okay, it was just kind of something that happens. Like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
Um, if an explosion happens, you should get like knocked, wham, like it should be like that. It was like I was like, okay,
You're like, "That's a lot
um,
softer than it ought to be." Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
Again,
you
it's not
you you
Star
may be
Wars
right about
prequels, but
that.
yeah,
That's
that's
true.
these are just things that
That
I pick up on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't know, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know, but
It's
it's just
just all
something
of our
like
personal experience, I'm sure someone else will
yeah,
catch one thing or two things here and there as well.
that might if you need like realism and like um in physics and gravity and stuff like that, if you're a stickler for things like that, it might take you out of it in certain scenes. But yeah, it's not the biggest deal. Um,
Yeah, 99% of the time, it's very impressive that I feel as if these characters are in the environments and, the performance, you're able to, like, see in that there's someone acting there, but you just wind up believing it within the movie vast majority of the
right.
time. Yeah.
So if Phantom Menace is here and John Wick 4 is here, versus like John Wick 4 is everything, boom, boom, bam, falls out of a window, boom, lands on a car, and then hits the asphalt.
Mhm.
John Wick here, Phantom Menace here, Avatar Fire and Ash is like somewhere like right around there.
Oh, okay. So a little closer to Star Wars than John Wick. All right.
Just
All right.
just by just a
That's
little
that's
bit.
that's fair. Let's move on. But before we move on, I will say I do agree. The Like you said with the Tolkien, just like the amount of assets on screen is insane. Like, man, this movie would have taken 15 years to render with like 2000 technology, if even, maybe even more. Um, Dude, the amount
Oh
I
man,
remember in the first movie there was like the ending, maybe a two-thirds fight scene where there's like a billion helicopters or whatever coming into to destroy the tree, or no, they're going to the home base or whatever to destroy Awa or whatever it was. Yeah, like they took the things that happen in Way of Water and they're like, okay, that was great, but I want like 5 times the amount of like sea creatures and vehicles and
yeah.
motherships and flying
Yeah.
things on screen. Yeah.
To your point, I think I remember here again. This is something I just remember hearing. The first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, like the ending scene of Spider-Man just like
Oh yeah.
swinging around.
Mm-hmm.
I think it took like weeks the rendering time on that
Mm-hmm.
scene alone
Yeah.
at the Industrial Light and Magic servers. Like it took
Yeah. Oh dang.
like the
Okay, you're back. You're back. Good. Good.
Nvidia cards that they were dealing with were like just forget about it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
compared to
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Exactly, man.
like the fact that we were able to get this movie in the time frame that we got it. I mean, I think they worked on it for like a number of years, but again, that makes sense for a movie that's 3 hours and 15 minutes long
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
remember it got trimmed down to 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Certainly
They they
did.
they must have filmed like 6 hours
Yeah.
of footage. and they trimmed it down to this, right?
Way
And then
more,
the
way more. I'm gonna tell you way more. But as far as
and
like
then
narratively, like 6 hours,
right,
like this is
and
half of the narrative. First,
yeah,
you know.
and then the studio execs
Mhm,
got it, like, "Yeah, no, you gotta trim this down," and then they would get in fights with James Cameron, John Landau about when they need to keep him, when they did that whole thing, right?
mhm.
So, like,
Yeah.
understand this is like a trimmed down version of all the stuff they filmed. That's not even counting the reshoots and just the editing. Like,
Mhm.
I could understand them like taking a year just to edit this footage all together to get a coherent movie. And so it was a massive undertaking, a massive undertaking.
Yeah,
Imagine working for like 3 months on a scene that gets cut.
I know,
Like
right?
it's just
It's
oh my
crazy.
gosh, crazy.
All right, bro.
Anyway,
Let us move forward.
yes,
I know we're glazing the technology that was presented in this film.
no
Rightly
glazing,
so.
just acknowledging.
There's
No,
a
no glazing.
there's a little bit. There's a
We don't
tiny bit.
glaze. No,
There's a
no, no,
tiny bit.
no.
Okay, okay. All right, all right,
No
all right.
glazing. We're
All
acknowledging
right.
the
We're
hard work that
acknowledging.
went in. Yes.
Indeed,
All
indeed.
right.
Especially compared to other things. I mean, we all already know there's no other film that's going to come out the next 4 or 5 years that's going to look as good as this.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
well,
and
besides the AI uplift that may wind up happening, we'll see. Anyways,
right. Okay. So
um,
hang on. As of December 22nd, 2025, Avatar Fire and Ash has earned a global box office total of approximately 347.1 million following its opening weekend. While this marks the second largest opening weekend of 2025 behind Zootopia 2, it is a significant decline from the 435 to 441 million global start of its predecessor,
mm,
Avatar: The Way of Water.
okay, yeah.
So there you
Uh-oh,
go.
little trouble, little bit.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, even the most premier box office breaking filmmakers are coming up against the reality that like movies just aren't grossing the same things anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
there's
Even a
there's
movie
so
like
there's
this.
so much media for us to consume. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's rough. And yeah, we could get deep into that on another podcast, potentially
Yeah.
just solely for that itself. Now, all right, let's get to some other things. Let's say I'll say this. I brought up the example with One Piece. I do like this cast of characters that we have. And I am invested in going on the journey with them. I've actually, man, going into Way of Water, I was not sure I was gonna enjoy like this whole new cast of kids that were brought into the situation, and it did wind up winning me over overall. Like, just I mean, ultimately, I don't know if it's a full problem, but bro, I like his kids. I want to say more than Jake Sully, more than like the main character of the movie, which is fine. I still do like Jake, and I will say I like him more in this movie than I do the last movie, but we can cover that in a little bit when we get to like the plot pacing story
Yeah. Real
sections.
quick. Travis Mitchell, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Welcome.
Hey, what
Welcome to
up?
the stream. What up,
Welcome in.
Travis? Good to
Doing
see you.
doing well, man. Doing well. Hopefully you're doing well too. Okay.
That's you, Travis.
Yeah,
Welcome.
so you had just watched Wave Water a couple days ago. Now compared to Natiri and Jake, like, man, that movie was almost 80% the kid's journey. What do
Yeah.
you think about that, and how do you like the percentage of the kids represented in this film?
Uh, okay, so the central dilemma of the younger son, I never really felt like it got resolved from the
Hmm.
beginning of the second movie until the end of this movie. He's still kind of just a screw up. He's got the heart of a warrior. He's got a heart of his ancestor spirit. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay, whatever.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
like, he's still making decisions that are like causing harm. And eventually they kind of pay off, kind of, sort of, but not really, but kind of. But Loak, that's his name,
That's
right?
Loak. Yeah.
Like he doesn't, I don't really feel him learning. He just digs in his heels and stays stubborn, and then it kind of works out. But it his stubbornness still cost his really it cost his brother his life. because
Mhm.
chain of events, you know what I mean? It's not exactly his
Yeah.
fault, but it is kind of his. He set into motion what resulted in the ultimate demise of his older brother, right?
Mhm.
And then in this movie, they tried to
But it's
pin it
supposed to
on,
be
oh,
because he's doing what he believes to be right. So it's like, yeah, there is the recklessness element, but
yeah,
story wise, they always want him to be ultimately correct in what he's doing, but maybe not the right timing and the right, listening correctly. Yeah.
yeah. So like,
Like you're maybe referring to a few different things, but including like the communication device. Um,
yeah, that was probably the one scene that irritated me. He's like, oh, it caught on fire. Like, oh, how convenient.
uh,
Uh, okay,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
So that kind of annoyed me.
Hmm.
But like, what was I saying? Then they introduced the whole concept or the idea that, like, oh, it's because he's a Sully, he's a Sully, right? Because he's part human. That's why he's making all these mistakes. When Nateri and Jake were having their like spat or whatever,
Hmm. Hmm.
and she's like, I hate, uh, not Snake, I hate Spider.
Yeah.
I hate
Hmm.
the Sky People. I hate the whatever,
Hmm.
which is justified to some degree, because they're the ones wreaking havoc. And
Hmm.
apparently in this universe, they pretty much stripped bare Earth of its natural resources, and now they have to move somewhere else where they
Hmm.
will presumably do the exact same thing.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, I do feel like, in one sense, I like that the kids are characters and we get to
Yeah.
experience the world through the kids, which in a sense kind of makes more sense than just seeing everything through uh, Jake's
Hmm.
perspective.
Yeah.
Jake doesn't seem as apt to learn things the same way or at the same speed as his kids. Um,
Nope. 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 Well, I'll get to that in a second. Oh, you know what? Since you're here, let me say this. I hated the backpedaling that they gave Jake and the Way of Water, and felt as if like he made a number of decisions that did not align with what he had learned in his perspective based off of the first movie. Now, I will say, I understand on the one hand they took the writing perspective of let's walk a bunch of these characters back on different things because we have three new movies that we're gonna make. So the first movie, I think he had a greater vision when he's like, all right, let me just do it and do as much as that I can as if this is going to be the last movie, even though I want to do more movies. And then once he got more movies, he's like, all right, now writing wise, we got to write our characters back a little bit and then have them grow to where they were and then beyond where they were across three movies. And so that wound
yeah,
up being Jake is so angry at this man for having he knows the threat of humanity and what it is, and yet he is just turtle shelled at the beginning of Way Water and just runs away. He's causing problems. He's running away. He's like what? He's like um what's his face? I'm forgetting the name of the biblical character that gets well Jonah. He's like Jonah, like running away.
Orochimaru,
Orochimaru.
Orochimaru,
Orochimaru.
Second
Yeah.
Chronicles, Orochimaru.
There we go. Yeah. He's like running away. I know I'm going on a long tangent. Well, anyways, he's running away from responsibility. He's running away. He just wants to protect his family and basically just his family, but he's kind of trying to protect everybody else through his family, but he's not intelligent enough, I guess, as a military mind to think that when he runs away, he's going to put the sky people in danger and the water people in danger. And like, he just keeps on being in danger. He's like Jonah on the ship. Like, there's a storm that's happening because he's doing the wrong thing. Yeah. Anyways, um,
Yeah,
so in
all
this
the calamity follows him, and everybody gets hit with the collateral damage of it. And
every
there's no real
yeah
reckoning of that. There's no
yeah
real reckoning. People just kind of, oh, you're one of us now. It's like, okay.
yeah,
Um,
and it's also connected to him giving up the I gotta find it again. I'm forgetting the name of his his role that he gained at the end of the first movie with
Like
with the giant dragon, basically. Like
it's like
he's
the
basically
the Toyota Suzuki something. It was something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's more or
Yeah.
less the Khaleesi, except he's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
except for the Pandora version. I'll find it a little bit later. Um, Toruk Makto, is that what it is? Anyway,
Yeah.
something like that. Uh,
Toyota Tacoma. Yeah.
yeah. So he has to gain back that, like he realizes in Way of Water, like, oh man, yeah, I'm running away, like, uh-oh. And so then, rightfully so, at the end of this movie, he's like, all right, give me all the guns. We're gonna take all the guns. We're gonna use the guns because the guns are really good. Because I can't run away from this problem. I want to equip my people to be able to fight this evil. Um, and he's like, yeah, I guess I gotta become Toruk Makto. But then he doesn't want to, and he's like, oh, story retcon. Turok Makto is kind of evil. It's kind of like it builds up this like hatred and this violence inside of you. I'm like, whoa, 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 wait a second. Where did this come out of the lore? Like, wait a
Yeah.
second. Wait a second. I mean, we know from a writing standpoint, he had to give up Toruk Makto because bro was gonna be OP basically in the second movie. So he's like, he had to shed that a little bit. But it's a classic trope in stories. You know, it's like for you, Luffy not going what was it, zombie
Oh, Nightmare
souls,
Luffy.
nightmare Luffy. Yeah, it's like, yeah, once you do something too powerful, like you gotta stay away from it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Um. So yeah, and then like okay, so that I'm totally happy. I'm totally fine with us experiencing the world through the kids. I think that's
Yeah,
totally cool.
yeah,
And there's like all these subplots, but that's cool too. And the bloodthirsty capitalists that are just trying to like you know
yeah.
get the immortality goop out of the what do you call them,
Mm-hmm.
the what do you call the
Cocoon.
insect, the tolkien, the crustacean whales,
Yeah.
and that's why they're doing it. But then they just discarded it. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
we're wasteful and all that stuff.
Mhm, mhm.
And okay, so I want to talk about the dude from Flight of the Conchords that's in this movie.
Mm, 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 mm.
He's the marine biologist.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest missed opportunity in this movie is that he didn't really do anything that funny, which like broke my heart. You know, most beautiful
It's
girl on the street, depending on the street. Like I wanted something. You
I
could be a
do not blame you.
part-time model. Like
I do not blame you because, bro, they gave Sigourney Weaver "Get Away from You, Bitch" like once again in this movie. They could
oh
have given
no,
that man something. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
know just something.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kept noticing.
Yeah.
I know this guy. I know that's the dude from Flight of the Concords.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. I do like the tension between Nateri, who, in my opinion, is probably the coolest character in this whole
She's the
movie
best character in these movies.
by far.
She
She's the
is.
illest
She
warrior
is.
fighter, and
Yeah.
so
Yep.
there's a part of
Yep.
this movie that, because there's another movie coming, there's certain things that just don't get resolved,
Oh
which
yeah.
kind of bothers
100%.
me
Mhm.
because it's like, okay, so okay, I'll start with the smaller ones, and
Okay.
then I'll work my way up to like the bigger one.
As far
So the
as
smaller one
yeah.
is
Things that don't get
that
resolved. Okay.
the Ash priestess witch leader
Brother.
woman
Brother.
that they connect the tails.
Brother. Brother. Oh my gosh.
What she reminds me of? She reminds me
Varang.
of
Oh
like
man.
the hot Nazi girl from like the Last Crusade, or um like the Nazi girl from Crystal Skull. You know, was it not Judy Dench? What's her name? Kate Winslet.
Uh,
Is it Kate
that might have been
Winslet?
Kate Blanchett, right?
Kate Blanchett. That's the one. Kate
Yeah.
Blanchett.
Yeah.
She kind of reminds me, or she's kind of like, who does she remind me of? Like Tank Girl or something. I don't.
Bro, look,
She's a
she's
certain
like
she's a
she could
certain character trope. Like she reminds me. I don't remember exactly who she reminds
100%
me of.
is. She's like a Mad Max character mixed with like
Yeah.
okay. She's basically, and y'all some of y'all gonna get offended by me at this. She's basically like church hurt the character. Like
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
she
yeah.
said
We we
AWA did her
trusted AWA,
dirty, and then
so now we're
AWA did
in
not
that
save her
fire.
people. She loved the fire. And then she runs 100% the other way. She's like,
Yeah, she
she's
goes full
basically
on
that like
goth
goth
queen,
girl. Yeah, she's that
full on
goth
goth queen.
girl
Yeah,
with all the piercings that is trying super hard to be super sexy and like dangerous and all that stuff. And for
right.
some people, that's
How
gonna
can a
work.
loving AWOL allow all this pain and
Yeah,
suffering? But
yeah,
if you dare to tell her that she's not that big a deal and that AWOL doesn't owe her,
yeah.
she will lose her freaking mind,
Bro,
right?
we will come back to her, Varang.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
Probably
so
my
so
biggest disappointment in this movie, but we'll come back to it.
yeah, yeah. So number one, she just runs off. So she runs off. Like the daughter connects her because the daughter got super powered, basically connecting to AWA and all that stuff. So
Curie, yeah,
she basically she just runs off. She
yeah,
disappears.
yeah,
So she's not dead.
yeah,
And because there's another movie, the Nateri versus her,
mhm,
that final showdown,
yeah.
you got they kind of they had a little bit of a skirmish, but then like the final resolution is not there. Okay.
I get so frustrated about lore, and like being on a different planet and have the experiences be different than Earth. But they had Curie not learn anything. Like you got a whole tribe, multiple tribes of people connected to Ahua that would be like this would be the correct time, like glazing this girl to the nth degree that she is an immaculate conception, representation of Ahua. Like I don't even understand like that. And then Quaritch is like he's not the real guy. Like two different things definitely not explored in this movie so
Yeah,
frustratingly. Yeah.
there's too much. It's probably in like the deleted scenes.
Yeah, yeah,
But so the first thing is she gets away or
yeah.
she runs away,
Yeah.
and so that doesn't get resolved. Like,
Yep.
all right. And then Quaritch,
Quaritch.
what's the
Yeah, Quaritch.
Quaritch? He like, oh, I'm caught.
Falling down.
Yeah. But we
Yeah.
don't see him
No.
die. We don't see there's
No.
no
No.
resolution
No.
because there's a next movie coming. So he's did he
Yeah.
die?
Yeah, yeah.
Is he gonna get a power up somehow? Because he gets absorbs all this spiritual energy or something like that.
Yeah.
The trope of like, oh no, we're just doing business, but now we're smashing, like now she's my girlfriend, now we're walking around everywhere. And then I
No.
mentioned we're smashing, like
Let's get to the villains in a second.
oh
Continue
yeah, yeah.
on the plot hole.
That trope is the thing that's unresolved. But then the by far the biggest issue, the thing that I thought was going to get resolved in this movie because of
Yeah.
the end of the second movie, it's Spider and the fact that he saved them, which is kind of the reason why we have a third movie in the first place. Because he saved his dad, not dad, dad, not dad. Um, and that's the reason why like half of these things took place. Okay, like the when they were going on the blimp, on the blowfish blimp, that might have all still happened, right? But then, he
Okay.
walks in and, "Hey, I'm just here,
All
here's
right.
some
Yeah.
weapons." Okay, fine. I feel like I've seen this in other movies before. I know I've seen this in other movies before.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, oh man, I gotta watch another 3-hour movie because like there's all this tension about him not being a Navi and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm waiting for like this reveal, like, yeah, he's actually the one that saved me. Because then like that,
Mhm.
maybe they would have offed him, if he had done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But the fact that, now he's all integrated and now it's going to be so much more difficult to like purge yourself of him or to deal with it in the fourth installment
Mhm.
because, know, well, like I killed you. You were supposed to be dead. Yes, you did. And yes, he was supposed to be dead. You know,
Brother.
there was not
Brother.
even a question of like, how did he survive this? There was no question about that because to answer that question is to like the central like conceit of the whole film.
Dude.
So
Exactly. See, this is the thing. This is why this movie, like I said, it does not advance the plot beyond really what the plot was at the end of the first movie. You had the first movie advance the plot to, like, oh man, like don't be racist. Basically, humans are terrible. To, hate capitalism and like find a way to integrate into the planet in a loving, amazing
Yeah,
way. And
I'll give you the perfect analogy of what this movie is.
yeah,
Okay, Avatar: Way of Water was Super Mario Brothers 2 on the NES.
okay, okay.
Avatar: Fire and Ash is Super Mario Brothers 2 on Super Mario All-Stars on the Super NES.
Mm,
Everything ends up just a little bit better version of what was already happening
yeah,
in the second movie.
yeah,
You kind of again
yeah.
because you do kind of go to that same kind of circle, you know. The stakes are raised a little bit more happens than what happened. You had one whale that kind of crashed the ship in the first movie.
Yep, yep,
And
yeah.
now you got a whole bunch of whales
In Way of
crashing
Water,
ships.
yeah, yeah.
In,
Mhm,
in the way of water, you had
yeah.
the one outcast one that
Mhm,
did the whole free willy splash, right?
yeah.
This time you got a whole bunch of them doing it, and like it's this,
Mhm,
it's just we went from 8-bit to 16-bit. I don't know if you guys
mhm.
remember. Oh, gosh, maybe if you have the Wii or the online games or whatever, you might be able to experience this somehow, some way. But like Super Mario Brothers All Stars for the Super Nintendo, where you get to play the first three Super Mario Brothers, but with enhanced, better bro. It was amazing in the early '90s.
Yeah.
This was
Mhm,
amazing. 16-bit Super Mario Brothers 3 and 16-bit. Yes, please. Yes, sir. I'll have
mhm,
another.
mhm.
That's basically what this movie is.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, let me finish my thought on this. So it's like
Yeah,
we like I said, with the resetting of the characters for Way of Water and into this new trilogy, that I understood that with Way of Water, and I'm experiencing it with this as well. Travis is saying, so Way of Water is Evil Dead, Fire and
Fire and
Ash
Ash is
is
Evil Dead
Evil
too.
Dead 2.
Is that? I'll trust you on that one, just because I haven't played those games.
Dang,
But
brother. Travis, to be honest, I'm sorry. I have not seen those movies. I know the movies. I know Bruce Campbell's amazing as Ash in those movies.
yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
I will trust you that Evil Dead is almost 90%, 99% the the second movie is almost 99% the first movie, but better and more polished. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, like I said, we're catching back. We've caught back up more or less to where the characters were at the end of the first movie. I'm not gonna say technically in every single way. I think there are some interesting developments that have transpired and moved forward. I'll talk about Natiri and her in particular and why she's actually pretty fascinating in this movie. But it's side quest movie to get back to where they were before. All right, so the second movie introduced all these kids, and the kids had to like more or less catch up and bring their own interesting like new folds and perspective to the scenario. But Jake is back to being Toruk Makto. He's back to understanding the threat of humanity. He's back to being like, I'm gonna make the right call, the right moment. It might not be 100% correct for my personal family. I'm not gonna kill Spider. Like, we're gonna do things correctly. Like, we're not gonna do things the way the world. He had to go back from like, we're gonna beat the humans physically to there's got to be a different way to overcome this challenge. So he's back to where he needed to be at the end, where he was in the first movie. More or less, Natiri is basically the same thing, although her journey I think is a little more interesting because Jake he just is like I need to be this, I need to be that. Oh, let me go get my dragon back. Even though I said my dragon creates hate, the first thing you get in that dragon scene is my dragon loves me, basically, which is kind of yeah, doesn't matter. Anyways, I'll continue. I feel like the only things that have advanced in this movie are like you had Quaritch introduced in Way of Water. He's going through Sully's journey, Jake's journey that he went through in the first movie. So halfway through, so Way of Water is basically like a few maybe 30 minutes an hour into the first Avatar movie for Jake. He winds up getting connected to his lady. Quaritch gets connected to his lady, Varang in this movie. He winds up, you know, experiencing a little bit of like the frustration and challenge of like, oh man, like, am I human? Do I follow the humans? Do I just do like what's good for the humans? I'm now being challenged a little bit by the Navi side because I'm being won over by like what I actually am and by the woman that I have feelings for, and like, am I just a military operative, or is there more? Like, so he's going through Jake's journey because Jake was like the spy or whatever, right? In the first movie, he's going
Hmm.
through more or less. So they're catching him up. They're making these two characters have like parallels. It's just that they're Varang introduced in the last movie needs to catch up. Then you have Kiri. She knows that she's the Immaculate Conception. She knows she's basically Awa, more or less Jesus, but in a non-Trinitarian kind of a way, in a more separate beings kind of a way. Um, you got Spider, being the necessary second key to Kiri for the resolution of the next movie. Like, more or less, I mean, we know this movie series is going to the point of the humans are going to come down. The humans are going to be integrated. The humans that are good are going to be integrated into the world. The humans that aren't good are going to wind up either being put into the position where they change their perspective through the main characters, or they just don't wind up making it because their hate cannot be sustained in this world. So then you have the second Jake Neytiri situation with Kiri and Spider, but one is an Immaculate Conception, version of the planet representation, planet slash human. The other one's half human, half planet as well. They're like kind of the same thing, but from different perspectives. That then once they come together, they're going to allow humanity to integrate well within the ecosystem because ultimately Awa has decided. Awa saved Spider. Awa saved um I forget the name of Kiri's like original character. Awa saved Jake by allowing Jake to be in his Navi body. Like, Awa ultimately has decided there is value in humanity for those who are willing to come to the world and be equal with everyone else in the world. So we know that's where we're going, but like, literally plot wise, we got at the end of this movie more or less the same thing that happened in the end of the other movies. There's a massive human attack on the tree, on the Tolkien whales. They fight back. They almost don't make it. Awa needs to be channeled to overcome it. Awa channels is channeled to overcome it. Now we're back to humans are still a threat. There's the looming threat. The humans coming again. Like,
Dude, the parallels to Titanic in this movie, as I'm just thinking about it, are like actually pretty good. Like, you look at the very
yeah,
last scene
yeah.
of Titanic and all the people are in the ballroom. Yeah, you made it. You finally made it. And then they
Hmm.
go into like the great tree of life or whatever, and everybody that died is there. And like, oh, good to see you, brother. Um, but the humans are still the ominous threat. And Titanic is like the rich people that are evil. Billy Zane's character, I don't want to be seen by him. She hides from him, but like those people are the ominous threat. But then the people that are, James Cameron is essentially telling the same story in every single movie. I think somebody will find out one day, like he do a supercut of all the movies, Terminator, True,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. He's telling the same story.
I mean, I
Um,
know ultimately this kind of connects to like we say all the time, Hero a Thousand Faces. All of these stories more or less are telling the same story in
yeah.
one way or another, like on some level, like, yeah, it's fair. But you having brought up Lord of the Rings, I think is a much better comparison to like why that's successful and why this is not as successful within its overall story. We're gonna get 4 movies with the first movie more or less telling the story of the whole series, and then the next 3 movies telling that story over again. But then with Lord of the Rings, you got 3 different movies that like actually move the characters to a different point. It actually advances the story across the 3 films. It doesn't feel like we got two versions of the two towers, and all of a sudden we have four Lord of the Rings movies. We have Fellowship, and then Two Towers, Three Towers, and then Return of the King. Like
Yeah.
this
So
feels
I
like Two
think
Towers the second time.
okay. So there's a couple things going on with the Way of Water. You are introducing this entire new ecosystem, right? And the experience of them learning how to swim, learning how to hold their breath, learning how to communicate with the sea creatures, and all of that stuff took up so much of the second movie,
Mhm.
so much of the Way of Water.
Yeah.
And so, because it's a huge departure from being in the trees and in the floating rocks in the mountains, right?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. In this movie, they're still there, so they're not going. Okay, so one of the issues with the movie is like, okay, well now now they're like going back and forth between like the original location and the sea location, and there's a lot of back and forth going on. And
That's
how
what I
much
said, man.
distance?
Side questing the movie there.
Oh yeah, but
They're
like
covering a lot of
remember
ground.
remember in the Way of Water, it was like they made it look like it was like a
There was,
huge journey
yeah,
to
yeah.
go from this area to this
Hmm.
area, like it's a days long journey or whatever to finally get to where all these
Hmm.
um uh Maori tribe Navi folks are.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so okay, cool. So you have like these two very different worlds.
Yeah.
I almost feel like they would have had to go to like another world, but what other world are they gonna
Yeah.
go to?
So that was kind of the conceit that was put forward after Avatar was like, green light more or less, or announced to have more films. We're gonna experience the different tribes
Yeah.
of
And we kind
the
of
the
did,
planet.
kind of, in a sense.
The
Like if they go
the
like
fire and ash element with
like
the
the
with
volcano land or whatever, like if they'd done that, I could kind of see it like, something that necessitated them to like go there and have to deal with this priestess lady, warrior,
yeah,
Xena,
yeah,
Princess Navi, and the culture clash and all that. But that's not exactly what happened. These are just marauders and like, bandits basically.
yeah,
So, and they're
yeah,
like, they do this weird like witchcraft voodoo stuff. They're all like having this
yeah,
group seance around the circle.
yeah,
All right, but that's not like there's nothing for anybody else that's not part of that circle already to like engage with or deal with or
yeah,
learn from.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, they keep making it feel like they keep doing the same space cowboys and aliens thing over and over, and it's
yeah,
almost like different tribes of Native Americans that they're representing,
yeah,
which is fair, but it's also like, but this movie you got like, I don't know, the hyper violent Cherokee, or you know um, scalp skinning versions of the Native Americans, and it just does not work for me. I mean, like I said, the conceit of the series was going to be exploring the different tribes, and we went from like, I guess, kind of air to water, and it was like, oh, cool, fire and ash. Like, I'm very excited to see like what that fire and ash world's going to be like, and connected to it, there's always been a ecological sort of concern that James Cameron's trying to put forward towards everybody. They're all like connected to like, we're destroying the earth, but the one is like most obviously mining and deforestation and stuff like that. And then the second one is like whaling. And then I thought there was going to be something for this movie. I don't know if he's putting forward like the dangers of like spreading weaponry or something like that, possibly. But you get the retread of the
militarization.
whales again for the climax of this movie. So it's like we just got the whales storyline for the second movie.
Yeah.
Uh
So on that point, like I said, I watched Way of Water on Saturday, and I
yeah,
watched this today,
yeah.
and I kind of feel like I just watched like a 6 hour movie.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah.
Like this is like watching The Incredibles, and then The Incredible 2, which takes place like 37 seconds after the end of Incredibles 1. Never mind the fact that it was made 17 years after, but like just ignore that. But just like
Yeah.
this is just one large, gigantic movie.
Mhm.
And so there was no time that it passed or anything. Like it was just like, okay, this is what happened.
Mhm.
And that's always the issue with these movies where there's virtually no time that passes between the second and the third one.
Mhm.
like there's no passage of time that would allow for like maturity or development or
Mhm.
character in a traditional sense.
Mhm.
Um, so I mean that's fair. I mean that doesn't mean you can't make a movie that way, but like you box yourself in some ways as well.
Mhm.
I almost feel
Yeah.
like I'm just watching like an overly long movie. Like Way of
Yeah.
Water was
Yeah.
still like 3 hours, 15 minutes or so. Like it was still a
Yeah.
long movie.
Yeah.
So now I feel like I'm watching like a 6.5 hour movie,
Mhm.
and just to end up kind of where we started.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of the
Yeah,
issue.
did you really feel like we experienced the fire and ash, promise of the subtitle, of this movie? Like, I mean, it makes me think
Yeah,
of, Zelda, like, oh, dude, everyone loves Zelda, but the different dungeons, it's like, more or less, you went to, like, Wind Temple, Water Temple, "Oh, we're going to the Fire Temple, we're gonna experience the Gorons and the mountain of rock people," or whatever it was, and it's like, I was on board for, like, all right, so they're with these traveling merchants that are Switzerland, halfway between one culture and another. I don't know what two. They're not taking sides in what,
yeah.
between the humans and the Navi. Like, I don't know what that means, but um, it's like, oh, okay. I actually thought like the creatures are beautiful and it's amazing. Like, oh, they have these airship first creatures, and boy, that reminds me. One of the most heartbreaking moments of that movie is like when that like creature that's pulling the airship is just like falling and like screaming and like falling down to the. I was like, bro, that is some savagery right there for sure. Like that
Yeah.
is heartbreak. I thought they were gonna go down to the forest and rescue that fool. Anyways, let's move on. Um, I was like, all right, oh cool. We're getting the traveling sequence to go to the new area. We're gonna go to the Mount Doom, not Mount Doom, but I'm forgetting the names of some of the different mountains in Zelda. But we're gonna get like
Yeah.
a completely different experience. I was actually pondering before this movie, like, dude, like, are these Navi able to like go into lava, go into fire? And we did get her lighting her fingers on fire, like, so we got some tiny little like grasping of like these people experience the fire element in a different way. But yeah.
Bro, they just look like the Furiosa Road guys. Like
110%. I was thinking the exact same thing.
yeah, I was like,
I'm like, what? Also, I'm like, what tribe on this planet is not aware of the threat of humanity and their weapons and all this stuff? Like, are you serious?
yeah.
They just be like hiding out in the volcano, and they have no idea about like an entire forest that was burnt down, an entire ocean that's
Yeah.
been attacked. Like, anyways, I
It's like
can
some
I can
weird
move past.
Temple
Yeah,
of Doom, Indiana Jones Temple of Doom kind of thing going on.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I mean,
yeah. But let's play
because
with
because
like with
because with the way
Varang's
the
tribe.
water, like hang on, like the way the water, the Navi,
Yeah,
like they had
yeah.
like fins, which in reality didn't make that much of a difference. Even in the second movie, I'm like, all right, they're not swimming that much faster because they was like, oh, well, look at their tails, they're not going to be able to swim. And then you see them swim, it's like, all right, the only reason that they're slower is because they're not practiced in swimming. There's nothing about their bodies that makes them dramatically faster. So like I don't even know why they said that in the second movie. But like what I was thinking was like, okay, they're the Ash, or like they're gonna be like the white skin Navi,
Mhm,
and they're gonna be able to exist near the volcano or whatever, and they'll be flinging lava at people as part of their weaponry or whatever. Like
mhm, mhm,
something like that that would have
mhm.
made like that would have justified, you know.
Yeah,
Now the Sullys
yeah.
have to learn how to do fireworks or
Mhm.
whatever.
They're
You know what I
building
mean?
Hanabi and setting off, at Matsuri. Yeah.
The Simpsons are going to Brazil, like, all right, cool.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Uh-huh.
But they didn't do that. It was just like they just made them bad guys. I'm like, all right, like maybe some of them might have been bad guys. There was no wise volcano sage, that he could have talked to and given some lore, something. They
Yeah,
just didn't do that.
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
So anyway,
Yeah, yeah. That's fair. Uh, okay. One tiny thing before I get to like the major villains kind of discussion for this. I both like love and dislike Kiri, and I'm talking solely for the performance aspect of her character. Um,
This is the sentient,
Yeah,
not the sen-
Sigourney Weaver's character.
the
This is
daughter, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Major nitpick. All right, we talk about anime. There's a million anime out there where young kids are played by older ladies. Classic. It's fine. It's in the VA world. Like it works. It winds up being okay. Uh,
Voice actor, voice
voice acting.
acting
Yeah,
work.
voice acting. I love Sigourney Weaver. Ripley, all of her characters. Like there's so many cool things. This both works and doesn't work for me though. Like her performance is so stand out that she is not like her that age. Like they have all these other casts of characters that they actually cast like young people to represent. I get it though. She's the immaculate conception one. She can be kind of weird. I get it. It can work. It can work. I can forgive it. But as a nitpick, like we were saying earlier about the frame rate situation, of like he wants us to uh believe and be integrated into this film and not imagine and believe, just like believe. This always kicks me back out. I'm always like being reminded, oh yeah, this is Sigourney Weaver. This is, the character we see
Really?
in the tree. It happens like 50% of the time for me.
I didn't even know that she was the one doing the motion. I thought she was just a
That's
separate
great.
character.
That's great. That's
So
great.
I didn't. That never occurred to me. I
That's
thought it was
great.
just some girl in her 20s.
I'm not talking
You
about the
know.
motion capture. I'm talking about her voice though.
Oh,
Her
see, I didn't.
There's some motion capture moments where she is moving like an old person. I know there's the behind the scenes of like she spent time with like in high school and like with her grandkids and stuff
Like
like
Steve Buscemi.
that.
Steve Buscemi. Hey there, young kids. Oh man, they shouldn't have told me that. Oh my
look,
gosh,
look,
I'll never look at this movie the same way again.
this is probably the one thing that James Cameron will
Oh
be like,
my god.
shut the f up. Like I
Oh
love
my gosh.
Sigourney Weaver. Like I actually am mostly fine that it like is weird and it reminds me that there's something off here. But I just want to have experienced a version where they got another kid performer and so I could actually fully experience this character in a way that's not distracting for me. But maybe it's
Oh
just my
wow.
own
I
personal problem.
I didn't even know. Like I wasn't even aware of that. So all
Wait,
right.
you didn't realize that was Sigourney Weaver?
No, I knew that was like her daughter in the movie or whatever,
Okay.
like
Hey,
the
hey, hey,
immaculate.
maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. This is part of the problem though, I think, of like experiencing behind the scenes and peeking behind the curtain. I may have had your experience had I not known already that she was the one performing it and could just like hear it and
Ah,
experience it in my mind like the entire time.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, small little funny tangent. um that said, yeah, we mentioned there's no new eco concern. It's like, yeah, it's about the weapons. Oh yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna go to villains. I think maybe we'll talk about one or two minor thing after this. Guys, we still really enjoy the movie. You already know we're going to talk about things. So the villains in this series are incredibly disappointing. I was so excited going into this movie, seeing that like on the poster in the trailers and everything, we had a Navi villain, not just like, oh, like the tribe doesn't want to accept Jake, and because he's a dangerous person, he's with the dangerous people, but an
He must
actual like,
undergo the baptism by fire.
yeah, like an actual
Something like
Navi,
that, you know?
like a
Yeah.
full on Navi villain, which I will say I do see the possibility of it happening in the next movie, because yes, it may look like Varang is abiding by what Quaritch wants. I 100% am expecting her to backstab him in one way, shape, or form, and I will be happy for it. When it gets to that moment. Anyways, but as of right now in this movie, bro, like it was been so exciting. I know the humans are the threat. I know the capitalism is to me the overarching threat. They could have put that on pause for half a second in this movie and had them go from the first movie, second movie, pause, and then all the humans show up for the final movie to have their like big are the humans going to integrate into the planet?
Yeah.
Is that they're like humanity? Like we don't even get humanity's lore all that much. Like is humanity at this point where like everyone is just so depraved and about themselves and capitalism and whatever that all the humans are just hateful beings by the time they show up? Like I don't know. Anyways, we know it's going to get to that point where all humanity is going to show up and they integrate or they don't integrate. But they had this section right here where they could have had fascinating Navi villain bring up I don't know some sort of additional challenge beyond just the humans are coming to take and pillage and destroy everything. Like what? Like we know everything isn't copacetic. I mean, yes, Varang and her tribe already is an example of like a little bit of the Navi people tribes aren't all getting together, aren't all working with each other. We got that a little bit even in the second movie. The air people don't fully mesh with the water people, and there's something I don't know. Don't ask me to come up with the perspective right on the at the moment, but I feel like there could have been a new interesting fold that then is brought up in this movie that like in combination with the like capitalist like take care of the planet situation that could have been explored in like come to a major head in this movie. Maybe we even get the like Empire Strikes Back ending where the heroes are in a terrible position to then like resolve it in something like fascinating in the next movie. But
Yeah.
yeah. I'll talk about the individual villains in a second. But yeah, what do you think about the villains in this movie?
So maybe if like the Fire and Ash girl, like I want to see the stars. I know there's more than just this planet. I know there's more than just Pandora. I want to see what else is out there. And so, she would be using the military for her own purposes, meanwhile helping them, like just like this kind of what they try to do, like a trade-off, you know what I mean? Um uh, I mean, they basically did just a glorified version of just giving her a pack of matches, but
On
instead of
top on top of a
flamethrower.
psychedelic trip situation.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, like
I'll get to it in a second after you talk about it. Some odd sexual things going on too, but go ahead.
yeah. So I mean, again, witchcraft, there's always freaky sexual stuff that goes on in like real witchcraft. So like, all right, whatever, water is wet. But like, um, yeah, I'm just looking at the poster, and based on the poster, old girl should not be like the big villain there. It was still the colonel. He was still like the main villain, you know? Um, as far as the capitalist, the bourgeoisie, if we're gonna go in that whole Marxist interpretation of whatever, which is kind of what I feel like they're kind of doing. The biggest disappointment for me was like Giovanni Ribisi, who's a great actor. He was so flat and so like one-dimensional, nothing. Just like he was, but like that. In fairness, that's kind of been his character the whole time. Um,
Oh yeah, it's funny. He left in the first movie. Like he was in the whole parade of people like being
yeah,
sent
they
back to
kicked him
Earth.
out.
Yeah,
So
I
now I
don't
guess he
remember
came
how he
back.
showed back up. And did he show back up in Way of Water? I don't even remember. But he's back. He's back.
Very briefly.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess he
yeah,
came back with their cloned versions, right, or something like that. Maybe I
something
don't
like
know.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he comes back, whatever. Like there's really nothing stopping them, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I feel like some of this feels like aliens to me. Like, like people travel space looking for resources or whatever. Something about it is very, very like alien-esque
Oh
to
yeah,
me.
yeah, definitely.
But
This
I
is
have to
yeah, it's
mention,
very much humanities like Wayland Yutani.
yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, I have to mention whenever the people are in the exoskeletons and they're like, hey, and then the arm does it, I always thought that was super cool. I thought
They
they got
yeah.
they got the motion and the movement. It didn't look too fast or too slow. It just looked like a natural extension of them,
Yeah.
and the arms moved in a way that was like realistic, and the physics behind it were really good.
Yeah, the timing
Uh,
of the arms is really cool, like, when the characters will, for instance, like, raise an arm, like, the hand once your hand reaches the height, so does the, like, robot hand, same when it's,
yeah,
like, moved out,
the way
like, and
the way it
that's a, like,
synced, the way it
scaling
synced
thing.
up.
Mhm, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. The villains are just kind of whatever. The point isn't really the villains per se, except for like the Colonel. He's like the main villain, and he has the most complexity to him, which is cool. I actually think is good. Um, but yeah, the other villains are just
Why
like the
did they walk
Maradi.
away from the whole, like, exploration of he is and isn't his memories that were, there's like a ghost in the shell element of things that are kind of like presented in this movie with his character, and yet, like,
Yeah.
eye rollingly enough, he once he meets Varang, he's like, oh, had a sexual encounter, like, oh man, I'm gonna go crazy for this woman, like, yeah.
Well, first of all, that's maybe the most realistic part of this movie.
Yeah, this is
Keep it a whole buck.
the troops go to Vietnam situation.
Yeah. So like, there's part of that, but the only reason I can think is like they were going to introduce something in this movie that's going to be resolved or explored in the next movie. Um,
But yeah,
that's kind of
he's
tough.
100% back where he was at the end of Way of Water. Like, Spider helped
Oh, he's
him.
falling. And then
No, yeah, but like him like starting to questioning like what he's doing and actually like caring for his son and all that stuff.
yeah,
Uh
which is like a big
yeah,
theme in this movie, like the
yeah.
father son dynamic, like a huge part of this movie,
Mhm.
which is interesting. I actually kind of like it. Um, the younger son, he does cool things, but he still kind of irritates me. Although he does do cool things. But yeah, the villains are just kind of whatever. They're kind of like they're kind of standard in a sense.
Mhm.
They're a villain that you've seen in other movies and other things.
Yeah.
Like the one woman. If anyone's seen James Bond Goldeneye,
Mhm.
there's a female antagonist
Yeah.
who's in it. She does the whole thing where like she strangles guys during the act of
Oh, yeah, yeah, Xenia on top. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's amazing you remember that movie came out in like 1997. That's amazing. I know your sister loves the
Hey,
Bond
hey,
movies,
hey,
but
hey.
even so, that's impressive,
Hey, you brought up X-Men, so Famke Janssen,
bro.
connection to Phoenix. There we go. Same character, same actor.
Bro, if I was playing Russian roulette and I had to pick that girl's name, he's like, you just go ahead, just go ahead. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah.
her name's Betsy. All right, just go ahead, just do what you got to do. But yeah, so the villains were like they weren't any better than I don't know. They're okay. It was okay, I guess. Somebody had to be the villain, right? Because
Yeah.
this movie just the story just keeps retelling itself. So like somebody had to be the villain. If you killed off the villain from the first movie, you got to introduce another villain in this movie, or you just keep the villain from the original movie and just keep having him doing the villain thing. That's the
Mhm.
Colonel, right?
Yeah.
You introduce some elements of possible humanity and possible breakthrough, but then you don't satisfy that curiosity or you don't follow up on that because there's another move. That's the thing. Like a quadrilogy, I don't. This seems kind of like weirdly unbalanced. There's something about a trilogy that works. You have the introduction, the world building,
Mhm.
and then you have the crescendo of that and the dark night of the
Mhm.
soul and the central conflict, and then you have
Mhm.
a resolution of it in the third installment.
Oh yeah.
And whether they stick the landing or not, like you know you have Return of the King, which really sticks the landing. Uh, extremely sticks the landing. Like there's a whole other. You think the movie's over? There's a whole other 30 minutes of like sticking the landing,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah. Make
They're
sure
on the
all
mountain of
every
Mordor. Those giant bald eagles come and pick them up and take them back to the Shire or wherever. And so, yeah, I mean, so like that's like really sticking the landing in a way that's
oh yeah.
super satisfying. And then somewhere in the middle is like Return of the Jedi, where it's like, you know, um, the side characters needed a B plot, so let's give them some teddy bears in the forest. Ewoks, we'll call them Ewoks. But then like the central conflict between Luke and Vader still gets really good treatment, right?
Hmm.
And then I don't know what's a really bad example of like not sticking the landing.
Not
The
sticking the
Matrix,
landing. Oh my gosh.
the Matrix movies. I don't know, whatever, something. Pick a bad
That's
trilogy.
actually relatively fair.
Yeah.
It could be
So
worse, but like, look, bad movies don't stick to my brain as much.
yeah, um, I can't get them out of my brain, but that's a whole other issue. But
Uh,
yeah. So like this movie, it's weird because again, it's technically a quadrilogy, or it's like the first movie and then a trilogy, but like the trilogy they just keep retelling the same story just in different ways. And it sounds like we're just crapping on the movie, but there's like a lot to like about the movie.
oh,
It's
there's a lot. Yeah.
there's a lot. So
Once we're done with this section, we'll talk about Natiri. There's some good stuff to talk about there. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, the villains are okay. They're kind of in terms of their character motivation. I mean, the guy wants to catch Sully. He's got to catch his man. He's singularly focused on that. And then the other villains are just kind of like the military people and the capitalist or whatever, and they're just kind of doing what they're supposed to do. It's fine. It's whatever. If you're just gonna retell the same story, then like it's fine. Did the colonel, did the lady, did she actually end up
I
dying?
could have had for a little break though, like I'm saying, like tell that story. Just tell it again with that last movie. Just wrap it up.
Yeah, probably. Um, yeah, probably. That's probably
Yeah.
fair. All right, so
All right. So
Tyrion.
yeah, we'll talk about Tyrion in a half second. Yeah, one of the things that I think everyone loves about these movies is Pandora itself, and I definitely wanted to see way more of it. I thought like, oh, it was so exciting when the Tolkien and a whole swath of other creatures were brought into the second movie, and I feel like we only got like a tiny little handful of like new creatures, new flora and fauna. I guess I'm saying creatures over again, but in this movie, like, did we see any creatures in Varang's like ashy desert area? Um,
No, I was gonna say like yeah, we probably get to like the desert, sand dune, Navi, like Arrakis from Dune or something like that. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, but in Varang's, like, where her tribe is living, like a Mad Max kind of area, like we didn't get any creatures or anything. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
it was basically the elephant's boneyard from the Lion King. That's
Yeah,
basically what
it
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 was.
it, it basically was. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
Scar over there dancing and tripping out. I
yeah.
actually,
She's like female Scar. Be prepared.
yeah.
By the way, total side tangent. Going back watching that movie as an adult, Be Prepared lyrically is by far the
Incredible,
absolute best song in the entire movie.
incredible.
Fight me on this.
Yeah,
Can You Feel the Love Tonight? It's just a bag of Skittles. It's empty cal. It's so corny and cheesy. It's so
so good,
easy. Be Prepared. Like, no, that's the song. That is the song
dude.
of the movie. Jeremy Irons,
Killing
immaculate
it,
performance. All right,
killing it,
back to
killing it.
Fire and Ash.
Yeah. Um. Anyways, that actually reminded me, Varang's tribe in her area. I ain't gonna lie, there are some super dope moments with her character. I'm totally in there with the whole rave, like, yeah, spinning the things like all slowly.
Oh,
Like,
it was like
I see you
it was
guys.
like
I
oh
see you
girl from
guys.
Burning Man. It was
It
like
was
Burning
it
Man.
was 100% a Burning Man EDM experience of her
Yeah,
giving
yes,
chorus.
yes, EDM. That's exactly yes, yes, yes. That's
Yep, yep, yep,
exactly what
yep.
it was.
Uh-huh.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
110%. 110%. I'm like, Okay, James Cameron went to Burning Man. He had an
Oh my god.
ayahuasca trip. He did
Yes.
LSD with Steve Jobs.
Yes. Yes.
He's
Yes.
experiencing all
Licking
these things.
stamps and everything. Yes.
Yeah. I was like really hoping that her like eye palm tattoo, what she was gonna use that on Quaritch. Like he's all like
Yeah.
being strong man, like I can withstand this trip. And then she does
Bro,
like her magical ability or whatever. Like
the whole script was written on an iPad in a yurt. Like the whole, what I'm saying?
yep.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it
Yeah,
was.
exactly.
Yeah.
Man, and look, there's some really dope moments. Like I already said, cinematography and everything. I I low key love like the like anime s kind of moments where uh he winds up calling in a shot to kill one of her people.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
uh
yeah, that was a good
and
scene.
then she looks exactly dead at him, like he's like a mile away with the sniper, and she'd be like, oh, I see you, like looking, and then and then let's go inside. I'm like, oh, this guy's an idiot, like she's separating him from his cover. But anyways, he was comfortable, he
Yeah.
was digging her, she was digging him on some level. Fine.
They were trying to
um
smash. Like, that's what that was. The
Brother,
pretext is, "Here, let me get you high real quick."
I know, right?
And then yeah.
Brother, I meant to make this positive. Yeah, I absolutely hate that they boiled down her character to that. Please make her do something far more interesting in the next movie. I'm so like, this is exactly the kind of character that like we got in Cowboys and Aliens, not Cowboys and Aliens, Cowboys and Indian stories that James Cameron grew up with. I imagine where like the Native Americans are represented in the like the worst most used kind of ways. Anyways, back to the positives. She had some cool poses and attacks and looks and like weapons. I'm digging some of that stuff. I even really loved her like headdress thing that she's got going on. um so many cool things. Small aside connected to this. I'm a little, as we all were with the first movie, I'm still a little weird on the Hairtel connection thing, because I'm pretty sure it's used to control creatures, but I'm pretty sure it was also used for a romantic connection between Sully and Neytiri in the first movie as well, which means that it's got a weird underlying romantic connection. Like I kind of dig her using it to like control people, like control you.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. My mind's so powerful. They kind of really don't go anywhere with that. Outside of like, you're stunned. I'm so awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm also a little weirded out by, like, as we all are. We'll move on from that and the implications of that. Because she winds up doing it to Kiri and anyways, or in reverse or whatever it was. Um, Looking forward to some interesting new developments from her character in the next films. Wish that maybe even some of her people in her tribe had a little bit more going on, because they're, what do they call them? They're just a bunch of jobbers. They're just a bunch of goons, not doing anything besides you know being villains. There's nothing to their characters. Essentially, they just follow her for whatever reason. Yeah, don't fully know. I'm curious. Like, yeah, like she had a terrible upbringing. She like everything burnt down. How did she get these people to follow her? Like, what is their ultimate goal? Are they just trying to like burn everything down? She's supposed to be Joker, kind of. Anyways, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Back to good things. Natiri, look, there is very tropey also, I will fully admit. Varang has some like coolness to her, I will admit. Natiri has some very tropey coolness to her, making her the most interesting character in all these movies by a mile. She is so cool. Like, yeah, she was ripped of her bow, she's injured, she's got to like heal back. Um yeah, man, they don't even necessarily give her like a, I guess, yeah, she does wind up like shooting the explosive arrows and stuff. Yeah. Her sequences are cool. Her like desire to like her need to overcome. Yeah, she has that fascinating challenge, emotionally and mentally of I'm dealing with this hypocrisy of I like fell in love with this man that's a human. Like I 100% know he's human inside, and like that's who I care about. Two, they had to like they ripped it away from her in the second movie because of her family, and made her hate Spider in a way that I don't like. But it like I understand why it's necessary storyline wise, and I think it's actually relatively realistic to be true because I mean, look, actual racist experiences in the world, you 100% know. There's so many people that, let's say, like a white guy married a black woman and felt as if his racism is completely erased from the world regarding black people. It's not exactly how that works. They said in this story, you can fall in love with a person and still have like racist elements in your heart towards the ethnicity or little race in this movie of your loved one. You're like you don't just necessarily overcome the challenge of the world presenting like these racist kind of elements in just like one moment. So I actually am relatively happy with that being explored within these films. I think there's that is an interesting thing that's presented within the story. And so then her like trying to run through the forest to stop Jake from killing Spider. I'm satisfied by that moment happening with her, by her like being challenged by Jake earlier in the film, that she got this thing like that's in her. Does she hate her kids on some level because they're part human? And like her even admitting it, yeah. So, anyways, all that stuff that she's exploring within the story emotionally, I may not be happy with it being forced on her in the second movie, but at least I felt like it's done well, satisfying for me in this movie.
I actually like the fact that she didn't get along with the Water Tribe, uh, the wife
Yeah,
slash griot
yeah.
slash. She wasn't really the griot, but she was like
Uh-huh.
the doctor.
Naomi, not Naomi Watts. I forgot. I'm forgetting the actress' name right now,
Yeah,
but her, yeah.
there's one scene where the girl's like wrapping her up, and she's like, "Oh, you're stupid." She's like, "Hey, don't hey, you if you keep talking like that, or you keep talking about my daughter or whatever, I might forget the fact that you are.
Hmm.
I might forget the fact that you're a doctor or something." And then,
Yeah,
but then they both hiss at each other.
yeah.
But then
All
at the end of the movie,
yeah.
she ends up
Uh-huh.
helping her deliver her child, and then takes care of her
Hmm.
child as she dies.
Yeah,
I was like, okay,
that's good.
that's actually a good,
Yeah,
there's some good full circles that come around in this movie
yeah.
as
I
well.
think there was
That's
even
one of
some
them.
tension between them in Way of Water as well. Um,
Oh yeah, there's definitely tension
yeah,
between them.
yeah.
They didn't like each other. I mean,
Hmm.
really, she didn't like Nateri, but she trusted her to take care of her child.
Hmm.
They didn't like each other. They were not friends. They didn't get along,
Yeah,
and I'm cool
yeah.
with that. You know, the husbands are totally
They
cool.
they
Like
keep they keep they keep doing that with the lead ladies in this movie though, because once Meringue shows up, she's over there hissing at Natiri.
where exactly is the lie in any of this? Where? Tell me where the lie is. That's all I
Yeah,
want to know.
James Cameron's
Um,
like, okay, the females of every species are the most dangerous, so they're the most protective of their people, so therefore they need to just check each other all the time.
as on Earth, so on Pandora. Like I don't know what more do you want from this from this film
Hey,
from this vision?
hey,
What more do you want from this visionary film? Ah.
tell the stories you know. Tell the stories
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh. Oh my gosh, bro. So uh yeah. Natera, I mean, just her fight choreography, if you want to call it that, her aerial choreography was just super cool. It's like she was committed to still using like the bow and arrow in the traditional
Yeah.
way of fighting, and I thought it was really cool. And I thought the fact that she got her bow back at the end was really cool. Um,
Mhm.
it gave the son Loak a way to be useful, and stay connected to her when he wasn't sitting up screwing up and making stupid decisions and
Hmm.
getting people
Yeah,
killed. And
that was a touching moment where he gives it back, and he's basically like, "Bye, mom. I might be going to die," and she's like, "Wait a second. What are you doing? What's going on here?" Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, these parents have zero control over their kids. It's a joke. These parents like, don't do that. All right, I'm gonna go do that. Like, all right, whatever, you know. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean, and they keep telling us that's what needs to happen because like he doesn't listen to her. He winds up getting, the whole tribe of Tolkien to come back and help and then convince the elders. Which by the way, I don't understand why the elders would 100% change if they've done this their whole lives. But anyways, moving forward. And then the little youngest daughter is told like not to go in the water, but she goes in the water, and because she does, she helps Spider and Kiri actually, connect with Awa. Like
but then she
kids,
gets
kids,
captured.
yeah, kids stay disobeying people, and it turns out like good and bad for them.
Yeah. Like if they just listened to Jake the whole time, like this movie would be like an hour long.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because nobody would get kidnapped and they wouldn't have to save anybody like
Hmm.
repeatedly.
Yeah.
These kids are like repeatedly they're repeatedly getting kidnapped
Yeah.
or taken or whatever.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah, I'm still mad at Jake for not like preparing in any way, more or less, like for humanity's attempts to take over. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Go back to Siri.
yeah, I mean the way she's, they had her singing and she was like kind of like the emotional north star of the whole movie.
Mhm.
Um like she was the most her feelings were the most relatable even more than Jake's were. Uh,
Yeah.
Jake was trying to be pragmatic and she was like and she understood that, but yet she was like the emotional core, the soul of this movie.
Mhm.
Um so shout out to Zoe Saldana. Big shout out to her. She
Oh
did a
man, yeah.
fantastic.
Hmm.
I don't know if she was the one that was actually singing. It doesn't really matter, but like just her physical acting was phenomenal.
Yes,
Um,
yes. I hope these movies are
so
so successful that you don't have to appear on any more awkward T-Mobile commercials.
oh yeah, she was on a T-Mobile commercial. But I'm telling you, the industry is changing. Like that's what's happening. Like you got Matt Damon hawking crap crypto coins. Like it's bad on the Super Bowl. Remember that Super Bowl commercial? He was
Mhm.
hawking some garbage crypto crap coin, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, like it's wild out here. Like what like Zoe Saldana is famous, but is she as famous as I Show Speed? Like I don't even know anymore. We're living in topsy turvy, upside down world. It's all
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
I yeah, like streamers are like it's crazy out here, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, all the
So I don't,
performances were actually really good. Funny little thing. I keep bringing up Hellblade, Senua's Saga, Senua's Sacrifice. I kept thinking Varang was acted by Melina Jurgens from the Hellblade series. Like her performance was like it was so similar to how Senua is in those games, but it
mm,
is it is a different actress. Um,
okay.
yeah, she did well in that role. All right,
All right, so
let's go on
recommendation.
to, yeah, whether we do recommend the movie or not.
I feel the only way that you're gonna be able to like really stay focused and stay in because I even nodded off a few times watching the movie. I was like, I was like 10 o'clock in the morning. There's a few times where I just kind of like dozed off just briefly, just because it's just such a long movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the only way you're really gonna get through it in one sitting is if you go to the movie theater and you see it.
Hmm.
If you wait till it shows up on Disney Plus, man, like you might not get through it. If you
I
can
could
pause,
definitely see that being possible. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
get through this whole movie in one sitting, you're probably gonna have to go to the movie theaters and see it. You need the incentive of like the big screen, and I recommend real 3D. Um, how was your IMAX 3D experience? Was it worth it? Excuse me.
It's always pretty cool watching it in like full format IMAX. The 3D was good. You know, at the same time, there are only a few moments where I like fully really felt it. I mean, I always recommend IMAX. Just typically, you get like the full picture that was designed. I mean,
Yeah.
if you can look it up on the internet, but there are those images that show like how much of the image you see on different formats, and it's pretty
Yeah.
much like everything is chopped up a little bit, and then IMAX gets like 100% of the frame that was
Right.
intended.
At the
Yeah.
end at the end of the credits where they show, like, what cameras were used and all, it says, like, "Formatted for IMAX."
Mhm.
It also has real 3D, so, like, I recommend watching it in real 3D. That's the way
Yeah.
I saw it as far as
Hmm.
the 3D experience.
Yeah.
That does interfere with your I feel like 3D can sometimes interfere, and I'm the type of person always like, "Oh, okay, take it off. Okay, oh, okay, that's okay. Oh, I see what they're doing. Oh," like, I'm constantly checking to see what it actually looks like.
Hmm.
Now, the thing about the 3D is, it's like, here's a piece of paper, right? Sometimes to me, it feels like it's not so much 3D, but it's just like this in front of me, right? It's still a flat 2D image,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's still a Kohl's cash receipt. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know?
Oh, don't show off your code. Oh no.
Oh no, it's on this side. The barcode. Like but it's like a flat 2D image, just like with like depth of field. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
is it really 3D? Eh, and I felt that way because apparently James Cameron is like doing this 3D concert thing for Billie Eilish,
Mm.
and it was the same thing. It's like they're on stage, but it's not like, again, it's not like it's not like VR. It's just like 2D with blurry background. You know what I mean? And so there is some kind of depth, but like there's still like
Mhm.
an you don't really get that Z axis the way you would think in 3D.
Uh, I mean, being a full CG movie, it's better than the ones that aren't.
True.
Um,
I'm just saying, like,
I think
um,
it did work. Yeah, just from my memory, Way of Water felt a lot better 3D. I don't know if that was because we got. I don't know. There's just a lot of instances in which depth was represented like a lot, like completely, like with the surface of water, like you can see the depth extends in a very obvious way underwater. Just the surface itself, there are different things that help that, like that's why people will like do like blades and arrows and stuff at screen,
yeah,
because you wind up seeing and experiencing like the depth
right.
easier. There are moments where that does happen in this film, but I think Way of Water 3D was the effect was a lot better than this, and that's just this sheer, I don't know, element of like
Yeah,
being out in the air, up in the air most of the time. There aren't, unless there are like a million objects, which does happen. Like yeah, the depth is not as experienced as consistently, maybe in a way.
yeah. I,
Um,
I think I think what I'm saying is, like, short of a VR headset,
okay,
there's just limitations to it. That's all.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
And what you're experiencing isn't so much 3D, but it's just like this 2D thing is in front of this thing, and there's like a depth of field that's being applied to it, which you notice when you take off your glasses. And so
Hmm.
this is probably one of the best implementations of it for a live action. I put live action in air quotes because there's so much motion capture in 3D. Does it really count as a live action film? Yes, technically, but it really blurs the line.
Uh huh. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I recommend watching it probably in 3D because it was kind of made for that to a certain degree. Although you don't have to. 3D is always optional at this point, unless, again, until you get like an Apple Vision Pro or something like that, and it's shot, so you really like, all that.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
I would say watching the theaters, like, yeah, it's 3 hours 15 minutes. Go ahead and experience it. There's enough good in the movie that it
Yes.
justified
And at
its run.
this point, based off of the first two movies, like if you like the characters or not. So if you
Yeah,
like the characters and are completely fine to experience, I don't know, Egghead Island Part 1, uh, go and experience. You like the characters, you like the situation, you're curious to see the performances and how the technology's advanced. Like I'm saying, you want to experience high-end PC gaming. I'm not trying to simplify your project, James Cameron, to just a PC game experience, but I'm just saying, you want to see technology pushed to its upper limit right now. Go out there and check this out.
Yeah, this is visual effects like the bleeding edge. And so what trips me out is the reality that like the technology that was required to make this film the way it was made in 5 years for sure, 10 years absolutely, you'll be able to do this on your smartphone.
Yeah.
We're
All right, if we
kind of
make
aware.
one, if we stick around for one more hour, we'll be as long as the movie is. Okay. All right. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, so um like I'm looking forward to like looking back in like 5 years, maybe even 10 years and seeing
Yeah.
like how dated this movie looks by comparison. We are in
It's
topsy-turvy times like right now in terms of like AI and the ability to create photorealistic image. Like it's nuts right now.
yeah.
And Hollywood hasn't quite caught up yet, but it does. Um, the beauty of it is that the AI and technology is like democratized. So you don't have to be a James Cameron to get James Cameron results. You don't have to be on the Mandalorian to get the volume, that kind of like effect. Like you'll be able to do that on, smartphone and doing things like that. We're living in topsy turvy times in terms
Yeah.
of like, and the technology just keeps getting better and better, smaller, smaller, cheaper and cheaper. And so, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna get a whole lot of slop, but we're gonna get a lot of good stuff too. And
It'll
um,
happen,
it'll
angry about the how it is connected to art in all its ways, especially it having been trained on things that it's, you know, has no right to be trained on. But anyways, another
Yeah,
discussion for another time.
that's a whole Pandora's box thing about like there was no laws. There's no laws for it to break, so it just scraped everything, and now we're trying to retroactively make laws and do copyright lawsuit. Like we're living in very very interesting times. I'll just say that. And so,
The thing is,
yeah,
though, it's still gonna take an artist touch to get thing like you're saying. We're gonna have a lot of slop. It's still gonna take an artist touch to be able to get something good out of it. Like with
and
this movie.
that would be
This
the difference.
movie made by a run of the mill, entry and not even run of the mill. Let's say a filmmaker that has been doing it for was learning studying filmmaking for a year at the studios or something in college or whatever is going to have a very different execution with the same budget with all these tools than
Right.
James Cameron and his team and all that stuff. So
Yeah, James Cameron is a skilled filmmaker. So like what he's able to do with technology X versus what, a non-skilled USC film student is able to do with technology X, you're going to get wildly different results. And
it's going
so
to be
going
more
back to the whole.
exciting in unique ways for that
Right.
film student, but yeah, it's not going to
Sure.
be executed like maybe technically as this movie is specifically.
So yeah, what I'm saying is like going whole like we'll get a lot of slop, we'll get a lot of good stuff. That's what's gonna make like it's still gonna be the talent behind the camera or behind the computer screen that like Scorsese's still Scorsese, Spielberg is still Spielberg, De Palma is still De Palma, Tarantino is still Tarantino, and Cameron is still Cameron. It isn't just the technology that allows them to make these films, it's the fact that they're filmmakers and they still are masters of their craft. And that's still going to be important. Um, AI can bridge certain gaps, even narratively, because they're copying all the things they've seen from all these films and all these things. So, yeah, new filmmakers have an unfair advantage for sure. But I still think the delineating line will still be who's talented at telling stories, who's talented at manipulating uh, or utilizing the technology to its fullest extent. And for the time being, that's still going to be, you know, the front runners, the forerunners of these things. All the directors that I listed, and many others that I didn't list. You know, so like I said, we're living in very, very interesting times. And I don't know how this is all going to play out, but I know that the technology is accelerating at a clip that it's never accelerated before. And the implications for filmmaking and for media in general are going to be wide sweeping much sooner than the old Vanguard wants to admit, because it means that they have to relinquish their control over this medium, and that will be for better and for worse, you know. And so we'll see how it plays out. This film might be the last film of its generation, you know, that required the level of technical expertise. um Even the next Avatar movie after this one may be made with much less sweat equity, just because of the technology and what the technology enables. So
Oh
we'll
yeah.
see.
Oh yeah. Cameron's gonna take advantage of it in some way for sure.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
again, there's a mindset shift, you know, like James Cameron is like a baby. No, he's not a baby boomer. He's a Gen Xer. I believe he's Gen X. So like,
I don't
I
know.
mean, in their relationship to technology versus like me and Josiah's relationship with technology and the way that we think about it and how its implementation is going to look like, it's just going to be different, you know. So we'll see what Donald Glover comes up with. Donald Glover is like my age, you know, like when he gets a hold of this stuff, let's see what he does. You know what I mean? We might be entering a golden age of cinema, and like, you know, the ability to like prompt out a script and do all these things and like just make a level of quality that we've never seen before, or we might just get a whole bunch of slop. It's probably going to be both.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
Social media is a ripe fertile ground for just instant slop. We're already seeing that now. We're gonna get more of that. But then, you know, the cream will always rise to the top. I think that's always going to be the case. Uh, at the end of the day, people want a good story.
Hmm. Yeah.
Even if you're not
The
necessarily looking for it, you're drawn to it instinctually because, you know, in a manner of speaking, we're all people of the book,
yeah.
so to speak. Take that
Yeah.
where you want with it. But yeah,
Yeah. The impressionist turn of the modern artist is yet to be realized, but it will happen.
yeah. So yeah, go see this in the theaters. Check it out. Let us know what you think about it. Is there anything else you want to say about this movie? I feel like we've said pretty much most of what there was to say, and we
Yeah,
are
I think
we are
so, man.
wildly going time.
Like I said, man, it's appropriate for the film itself, right?
Yeah, it was a long movie. There's a lot to discuss.
Mm.
This is a dense movie, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot. Y- they're not biding for time. They're not padding the runtime. Like this was a dense screenplay. There's a whole lot that had to happen, and so
Yeah, it's you already know. It's dense and it's not dense. It's not dense in the Game of Thrones dense, Lord of the Rings dense. It's dense in the there's a lot of things happening, a lot of places going. Yeah. I won't completely trash it. There's writing density here too. But yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, it probably
guys.
could have been a 2.5 hour movie. Probably should have been a 2.5 hour movie, but you know, there's a lot there. So
Mhm. Yeah,
all right, so that has been our review of Avatar Fire and Ash.
it's a
Thank you
lot.
for joining us.
Thank
We
you, guys.
appreciate your viewing.
Mhm.
Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified for all of our latest live stream reviews. I have been Austin.
I have been Josiah, and first, before we fully bounce out, I think it's still on our Instagram. Next week, I believe we're talking about a Korean film. We're gonna go see
No Other Choice, that was it
No
called?
Other Choice. Yeah. So, yeah, it's coming out this week. I don't know really any details about it other than it's was it Chenwoo Park? Park
The guy that
Chan-wook?
did Parasite, right?
Park Chan-wook? I'm forgetting his name.
I think he
Let
directed
me
Parasite.
is it that same director that
I
won?
believe so.
Okay.
Who won the Oscar for Best Picture for Parasite?
We'll let you guys know the name of the director
Yeah, yeah.
next
I
week
think that's
next week.
him.
I think so. And then after the week after that, look, we're all watching it, right? we will be covering the conclusion of Stranger Things. Um,
Okay, so listen. I started watching it. Normally, I skip past the opening thing, but it felt so good to listen to it. I had to let it ride out every
you got
episode.
you gotta, at least once every season, you gotta let it happen. So, all right,
Only I could make a
Mhm.
deal with God.
Dude, she keeps getting that song up in here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't know what we'll be covering afterwards. Yeah, like Austin was saying last week, we're entering into some of the rougher times of January.
Yeah,
Uh,
speaking of slop, um, there was a great episode of, Half in the Bag. They're like, "Hey, guess what? It's bleep you, it's January," and it just shows, like, a dumpster fire because that's January, like, the studios know the movies they're gonna lose money on, and they just release them all in January.
yeah,
You get a
yeah,
lot of, like, cheapy, crappy horror films,
mhm,
cheapy romantic comedy. It's just, it's just slop.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
we'll see. We might do some Netflix shows, we might do some
I
classic
don't know.
movies, we might.
Hit us with recommendation. I'm a little bit
Yeah,
curious about a film called We Bury the Dead, with Daisy Ridley. We'll see if we cover that or not. But yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
So yeah, another choice next week.
Yeah. You guys pray
Uh,
for Daisy Ridley. Pray for her. Like, um, being in Star Wars has not helped her. It's not been kind. I'm sure she's a very lovely person, but man, she's struggling. She's struggling. Like the typecasting that goes on, being Ray.
yeah, Ray.
Yeah,
Yeah, that happens with a lot of characters, like a lot of actors.
yeah,
I mean, Tom Holland to some degree with Spider Man. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
We'll
So,
see. But yeah, anyways, we may cover her movie. But yeah, no other choice next week, and then Stranger Things finale the week after.
all
Thank
right.
you guys for coming on out. Thank you,
Yeah,
Janobi. Thank you,
yeah,
Travis, for talking to us in chat. As always, you guys can talk to us during these lives. If you don't want to, you don't want to. Leave us a comment later. We'll keep a lookout for the comments. But
yeah. We are the Super Cinema Bros. We love you guys. God bless and keep you. May His grace shine upon you. Have a wonderful weekend.
yes,
Merry Christmas.
Merry
And
Christmas.
we will catch you guys next week.
Indeed. Janobi has reminded, I don't know why I didn't say this. We have shorts as well. I mean, I don't know if you
Yes.
guys made it to the end of this, but if you have, look out for the shorts that we have. They're
Check out the store.
there's segments of these longer parts. You may have seen already, but all of it helps checking it out, liking it, and all that
Yes.
stuff. More will
Yes.
happen. Yeah, we have our amazing social media producer working on this stuff, doing phenomenal work, killing it, getting more views than we are on our own. So she
This
is
is true.
phenomenal. But
This is true.
anyways, guys, it was good. Austin, catch you later, man. See you
Peace.
guys. Peace.